Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Espionage and remembrances of Memorial Day. That's what's up this Friday. Yes, this used to be Memorial Day for a long time, as we'll have today episodes of Counterspy, starring Don MacLaughlan and Mandel Kramer from 1948. This is your FBI from 1952, The Green Hornet from 1939, and two Memorial Day episodes, one called Anthology and another called Against the Storm. That's a soap opera. That's all coming up on this Friday. This is the 30th day of May, 150th day of the year, and 215 days left in 2025. From 1868 until 1970, today was Decoration Day, or Memorial Day. From 1971 forward, Memorial Day observed on the last Monday in May. So, 4 days ago. What was the first American-built locomotive? Do you know? We'll tell you in a moment. Joan of Arc burned at the stake as a heretic on this date in 1431. King Henry VIII of the English people, married his third wife, Jane Seymour, 11 days after he had his second wife, Anne Boleyn, beheaded. The first Indianapolis 500 and won on this date in 1911. That was Ray Herron winning that. The Lincoln Memorial in Washington, dedicated on this date in 1922 by Chief Justice William Howard Taft. Babe Ruth played in his final baseball game in the uniform of the Boston Braves on this date in 1935. And in 1958, the bodies of several unidentified soldiers killed in action during World War II and the Korean War, buried at the Tomb of the Unknowns in Arlington National Cemetery. Back in that day, they didn't have the DNA technology they do today. Now, in 1998, an earthquake in northern Afghanistan, along with aftershocks, killed an estimated 5,000 people, injured at least 1,500 more. A quake on February 4th in the same area had killed 2,300. In 1998, Jerry Halliwell announced she was leaving the Spice Girls. The final flight of an Air France Concorde took place on this date in 2003. In 2005, Alabama teenager Natalie Holloway disappeared on Aruba. Her mother traveled to the island to help with the search efforts.
We've got FBI involved, and hopefully things will move fast and we can bring this child home.
Holloway was never found. On this date in 2011, British Petroleum CEO Tony Hayward set off a firestorm with this comment about the ongoing Deepwater Horizon oil spill in what was then the Gulf of Mexico, now the Gulf of America.
There's no one who wants this thing over more than I do. I'd like my life back.
Hayward would apologize 3 days later, but this and other missteps eventually forced him to step aside. 5 years ago today, the Crew Dragon Demo 2 launched from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, becoming the first crewed orbital spacecraft to launch from the U.S. since 2011, and the first commercial flight to the International Space Station. So, tell me, the first American-built locomotive? On this date in 1830, Tom Thumb, a one-horsepower locomotive, pulled over 4 tons at 15 miles an hour. May not sound like much, but in 1830, that was pretty decent. Now, it was constructed by Peter Cooper. A year later on that year, in 1830, it lost a famous race with a horse-drawn car. All right, let's look at who passed away on this date in history, and that includes the philosopher Voltaire, Floyd Roberts, an auto racer killed during the 1939 Indianapolis 500, musician and actor Dooley Wilson, also auto racer Bill Vukovich, killed during the 1955 Indy 500, actor Claude Rains, musician Sun Ra, and the famous band leader Tex Beneke. Among people born on this date, as Jack Benny said, There were only 5 real people in Hollywood. All the rest were Mel Blanc.
What's up, Doc?
Go, I say, go away, boy, you bother me. Where are you, pigeon? I am looking for you.
I thought I saw a putty cat. That's all, folks.
We've told the story before of how Mel Blanc, on January 24th, 1961, he was out driving alone. His sports car involved in a head-on collision on Sunset Boulevard. His legs, his pelvis fractured as a result. He was in a coma, completely non-responsive. About 2 weeks later, one of Blanc's neurologists at the UCLA Medical Center tried a different approach rather than just trying to address him. He asked Blanc, "How are you feeling today, Bugs Bunny?" After a slight pause, Blanc answered in a weak voice, just fine, Doc. How are you?" The doctor then asked Tweety if he was there too. I thought a putty cat." Well, they brought him back. Blanc returned home on March 17th, and 4 days later, he filed a $500,000 lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. His accident, one of 26 in the preceding 2 years, at the intersection known, famously in song as Dead Man's Curve, resulted in the city funding the restructuring of curves in that location. And during Mel's recovery, his son, Noel, performed some of his father's Warner Brothers characters. And for some years after Mel passed away, which he did in 1989, Noel did some of his cartoon voices then. These days, when you hear many of those famous characters, it's AI. Yeah. Mel Blanc, born on this date back in 1908. What a wonderful legacy. The man of 1,000 voices. Also born on this date, dancer, actor Stephen Fetchit. Also clarinetist and bandleader Benny Goodman. He was Cheyenne Bodie in the TV Western Cheyenne. Clint Walker, born on this date. And the wonderful actress Meredith McCrae. All those folks born on this date in history.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Those still with us include from 2001 and 2010, Keir Dullea, 89 years old today. Miles O'Brien in Star Trek. Colm Meaney is 72. WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, still with us at 70. He recently underwent some heart surgery. We wish him all the best. Singer Winona Judd, 61. From Supernatural, Mark Shepard is 61 as well. From Rent, Wicked, and Frozen, the wonderful singing styles of Idina Menzel, 54 today. The man who sang about Crazy, CeeLo Green, 50 years old. He sang another song, but I'm not doing it. Phantom of the Opera's Jennifer Ellison is 42 today, and actor Will Peltz is 39. Those just a few of the people celebrating the 30th day of May as their birthday, and if this is your birthday...
Hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
All right, let's get started on this Friday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, with an episode of Counterspy from ABC, 77 years ago, May 30th, 1948. It is brought to you by Old Nick. No, it's not that Nick. A different Nick. It's Candy Bar. May 30th, 1948, in the case of the Camera Happy Crooks. This is a story, if you haven't heard it, you won't believe it.
Not all careless drivers have accidents, but many such careless drivers cause accidents. A woman driver who drives slowly down Main Street while doing a little window shopping is a menace. So is the man who insists on telling the people in the back seat of his car about his poker game last week. It's no wonder that ordinarily cautious drivers start to lose their tempers and take dangerous chances to pass these careless drivers. When an accident results, the person who caused the accident probably won't even be touched. So the National Safety Council says if you want to window shop, get out and walk. If you are too busy describing one of your sterling feats to pay any attention to traffic, get out and walk. The driver's license you have does not give you the right to endanger the lives of your passengers or other human beings. Driving can be dangerous. Keep your mind on what you're doing, or walk.
You know the meme where all the people in town get all excited and happy when a film crew rolls into town to shoot a movie? Well, that's sort of what happened in this adventure of Counterspy from 77 years ago, May 30th, 1948, the case of the Camera Happy Crooks.
David Harding, Counterspy, presented by the makers of Old Nick and Bit of Honey candy bars. And today, the makers of delicious Old Nick and Bit of Honey candy bars present a special offer that means money saved for you.
We homemakers know that slicing knives with blades that are hollow ground usually cost $2 and more.
But we offer you today a 13-inch stainless steel slicing knife with a special process hollow ground blade for only 25 cents in coin, with 2 wrappers from either Old Nick or Bit of Honey candy bars, sent to Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York. We'll repeat the address and complete details later, so have pencil and paper ready.
Washington, calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington, calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy. Calling Washington.
David Harding, Chief, United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad, and to secure for every American the rights which are his under our Constitution.
Send Mr. Butler in now, please.
Mr. Tiffin?
That's right, Mr. Butler. Come right in. Sit down.
Thank you.
I don't mind telling you that your phone call earlier this morning aroused a great deal of curiosity.
I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Tiffin. It should make things easier for me.
Tell me, Mr. Butler, why did you come all the way to Kelby, Pennsylvania? Why did you choose the Kelby National Bank? There must be a score of other banks closer to Hollywood which would serve your purpose.
Oh, we could have picked any number of banks, Mr. Tiffin, but none would be as authentic for this particular scene we wanted to film. There's quite a trend, you know, in making the so-called documentary type of picture. Real people in real locations.
Oh, yes. Mrs. Tiffin and I have seen several pictures like that.
Well, then you know the realism we're looking for. We're filming the life of Pretty Boy Loveton.
Oh.
Yes. Of all his holdups, one of the most spectacular took place right here.
I'll never forget that day. I was standing near the teller's cage when it happened.
That's exactly what we want to show. You and the regular personnel of this bank.
Me? Oscar Tiffin in a moving picture?
Why not? Could anyone else act the part so realistically?
What would this entail on the bank's part, and when would you like to do it?
At the most, a 2-hour interruption in your normal routine.
Oh, is that all?
That's all. We'll shoot the scene without sound, so that any extraneous noises won't interrupt the shooting. We'll put the sound on film later. As for when we'd like to do it, the sooner the better. Tomorrow morning, if possible.
Tomorrow?
Yes. I've got my crew standing by, and time is money in any business, Mr. Tiffin.
Oh, yes. I wish other businesses would learn that.
Of course, tomorrow's Friday, and I imagine with payrolls and everything...
Oh, that's not a problem, particularly if it'll only take 2 hours. Our bank is organized efficiently enough to handle its business even with a little interruption.
Then tomorrow will be all right?
Yes, Mr. Butler. If you can finish before 11:30.
Perhaps even before that.
I see. Will there be any stars in this scene?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're using doubles. These will be long shots. We'll take close-ups of the stars back in Hollywood.
I see.
Just one thing more. I want to arrange for a police guard to keep curiosity seekers out of camera range.
Oh, yes, of course, certainly. You see the mayor. He'll take care of you. In fact, I'll phone him and tell him you're coming.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Tiffin. That'll be a big help. Good day, sir.
Glad to do it. Goodbye.
Come in. Come in.
Sergeant Lynn?
Yep.
I'm Mr. Butler.
Oh, you're the fellow who's going to turn Kelby Pie into Hollywood Cal.
What?
Pardon, Cal. Little joke on the abbreviation.
Oh, yes. Well, Sergeant...
Know all about it. Commissioner called and said the mayor said to give you all the cooperation in the world. Well, I can't do that, but I can give you all the cooperation in Kelby, PA.
That will be sufficient, Sergeant. Now, what I want...
You got 'em. Give you the best men on the force. 9:30 tomorrow morning, Commissioner said. That right?
Yes, it is.
Gonna need some folks inside the bank, aren't you?
Well, there'll be...
Well, my wife, Agatha, is a regular depositor there. She'd be glad to help you out. Always hankering after movies anyhow. Be true to life, too. Sticks every cent I make in there.
Oh, I'll be happy to have your wife in the picture, Sergeant.
What time you want her to be there?
The same time you come with the police.
Right. 9:30 it is. I'd better call her and tell her all about it. Give her a chance to primp up some. You know how a woman is about those things.
I understand. See you tomorrow morning, then. Sergeant?
Right here, Mr. Butler.
We're going to start shooting in a few minutes.
Gotcha. Everything's all set out here. Got officers at both ends of the block diverting traffic, and these men here will hold back pedestrians.
Good. Now, I'll give you a picture of what's going to happen so that none of your men can get into camera range.
I'm listening, Mr. Butler. How's Agatha doing?
Agatha? Oh, fine. Excellent. Just the type we need for the picture.
Yeah? Good.
Now, you know we're shooting this silent.
Yep.
But there still may be plenty of sound made. People yelling, guns shooting, and perhaps even the burglar alarm will be set off.
I see.
I want to mirror the sound of the excitement in the faces of the people in the picture.
Gotcha, Mr. Butler.
Now, first, after the robbery, I'll back out of the door there. Then, the two cameramen will come after me, and we'll all get in the first car.
Right.
Then, Mr. Black and Miss Smith will come out with drawn guns and get into the second car.
I see.
We'll both speed off, and as soon as we've turned the corner, you can let things go back to normal. Unless, of course, we need another take.
It's all straight.
One thing more. Mr. Tiffin and some of the bank employees will come out shouting, help, robbery, police. Don't get between them and the camera. I want some shots of that.
You bet.
Now that that's straight, I guess we'd better get started. See you, Sergeant. Well, Mr. Tiffin, are you all ready?
Oh, yes, but I haven't met.
Oh, of course. Mr. Black, Mr. Oscar Tiffin, president of the Kelby National Bank. Mr. Black is our version of Pretty Boy Loveton.
How do you do? Hiya.
And this is Miss Smith, Pretty Boy's girlfriend.
Hello.
How do you do?
Haven't I seen you someplace before?
That's not an original line, Mr. Tiffin.
Oh, no, I didn't mean... Well, that is... No, really, I'm sure I've seen you in a picture, perhaps.
Maybe. I've been...
Yeah, she gets around. Maybe you have. All right, come on, let's get started.
Right, Mr. Black. Mr. Tiffin, will you get in back of the teller's enclosure?
Certainly.
All right, now, everybody. I'll be talking all through this. React the way I want you to. Cameras ready?
All right.
Good. All right, let them roll. Go to work, Mr. Black.
Okay, everybody, this is a stick-up.
A little more frightened, please.
Keep your hands at your sides, stand still, and nobody will get hurt.
That's the way.
Baby.
Yeah, pretty boy.
Get the cages clean out the dough, every cent of it.
Right.
Good. Be awe-stricken, Mr. Tiffin.
Come on, baby, step on it.
Don't really touch the money. You'll mix...
Shut up, you.
You heard the man, Mr. Tiffin. And I'll tell you a secret. That gun hasn't got blanks, it's got real bullets.
What?
You see, this picture is going to be the last word in realism. We're robbing your bank for keeps.
What?
You'll notice the cameramen have guns also. And they're loaded, too.
How you doing, baby?
One more case to go.
Well, you can't do this.
Why not call for the police, then? They're expecting it. Or you could set off the burglar alarm. They're waiting to hear that.
All right, big shot. You're not on the stage now. Cut the hammering.
I got it all.
Okay. Now listen. Anybody gets wise, comes running out right after us, stops running permanently. You get it?
Let's go.
Stick to the plan. I go out first. Those two hoods follow me, and then you come.
Okay, but step on that ham bone. I'm getting nervous.
Come on, you two.
How's it going, Mr. Butler?
Perfect, Sergeant. Perfect.
Agatha, all right?
Wonderful. In the car, you two.
Remember, anyone comes out here before the car starts gets a bullet out of this gun. All right, get in the bus, baby.
Right.
Perfect. All right, let's get out of here.
Police! Robbery! Stop them, Sergeant!
Hey, that's good, Mr. Tiffin. You ought to make acting your business.
Acting? That was no acting, you blockhead. They really held up the bank.
What?
They weren't actors. They were crooks. They cleaned out the bank. Over $200,000 in payroll money. Don't stand there like a lunkhead. Get after them. Get after them.
Yes, Peter?
It's got a teletype flash, Mr. Harding. Federal Reserve Bank robbery in Kelby, Pennsylvania.
Any details?
The amount's over $200,000.
$200,000. Wire our nearest counterspy office. Have them send out a mobile laboratory.
Right, Chief.
I'll order a plane. You stand by for further details. We'll leave for Kelby as soon as we can.
Oh, honest, Gus. Did you ever see a look to match that banker's face when I told him it was a real holdup?
You didn't get a load of that dame near the teller's window, Marty. She just passed right out.
That was Agatha, the sergeant's wife. I'll bet he's hearing from her right now.
Look, Marty, let's not be so happy about this. We're not out of it yet.
What are you worrying about, Gus? We switched cars, paid off the boys, and still have over $150,000, and we're heading for New York.
Well, I won't be happy until we're there. I don't like it out in the sticks.
How much you pay those guys, Marty?
$10,000 apiece. The highest fee any cameraman ever got for such little work.
You know, I half wish you'd taken pictures. I'd give anything to see how I looked.
That'd be all we'd need, Dolly. Pictures of us.
Stick to your driving, Gus. We want to make New York by morning. Dolly,
What?
I did.
Did what?
Took pictures.
What?
What's the matter with you two?
Nothing, guys, nothing. I just got rid of my stockings.
Oh, that's a dame for you.
No kidding, Marty.
Yeah. Camera's loaded with film. Should have the whole thing in here.
Gus isn't gonna like that.
We'll destroy it after we see it. Trouble is, I don't know how to get it printed. Can't send it to a commercial laboratory.
I know a guy does that work. Makes movies.
We just can't.
No, he's okay. Got enough on him to hang him. He'd do it for free for me.
I'd like to see them.
Yeah, so would I. Better not tell Gus. Not till they're ready, anyway.
Hey, what are you two whispering about back there, anyhow?
It's a surprise, Gus.
I don't like surprises. Why don't you get some sleep? I'm not going to drive this bus all night. One of you will have to take over later.
Right, Gus. I'll get some shut-eye and take over whenever you say. Excuse me, folks, while I sleep the sleep of the idle rich.
We'll continue our David Harding counter-spy case for Old Nick in a moment. I wish there was some way you could look into your radio there and see what I've got in my hand. Because if you could actually see this stainless steel slicing knife, you'd know what a remarkable value it is. It's guaranteed to compare with knives costing 75 cents to $1. Because of a new secret process, we've been able to have this knife hollow ground. And that's a feature usually found only in knives costing $2 or more. But you can have one of these knives for only a quarter with 2 wrappers from delicious Old Nick or Bitter Honey candy bars. Mrs. Clarendon, will you describe this knife for our listeners?
As you homemakers probably know, a slicing knife is long and slim, adaptable for use either as a butcher knife or as a carving knife. Our stainless steel slicing knife is nearly 13 inches long. Because it's stainless steel, it's easy to clean. It keeps its silvery luster for a lifetime. Our slicing knife is hollow ground, which means it has an extra keen cutting edge, like a fine carving knife. The handle is polished blonde hard wood, designed to fit your hand smoothly and comfortably with a non-slip grip. I know you'll find this is one of the most useful knives you've ever had in your home.
Friends, send today for your stainless steel slicing knife. For each knife you want, send 25 cents in coin and 2 wrappers from either Old Nick or Bitter Honey. Send to Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York. Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York. Please use coin. Do not use stamps or checks. I know you'll enjoy using your stainless steel slicing knife because many people have sent in a second time. That proves that they like the knife and that they think it's a remarkable value. Remember, that's 2 wrappers from Old Nick or Bitter Honey candy bars with 25 cents in coin sent to Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York. This offer must be withdrawn very soon, so be sure of your stainless steel slicing knife. Now, back to our Old Nick, David Harding counter-spy case.
I don't think I'll ever be able to live this down, Mr. Harding, not ever.
Now, Mr. Tiffin, don't be too hard on yourself.
To be taken in by such a fantastic scheme.
Well, a less fantastic scheme probably wouldn't have been successful. You've read how pranksters have opened street excavations or imposters have posed as foreign diplomats. As a matter of fact, we have records telling how moving vans have been backed right up to closed-down homes and the contents just taken away. All in broad daylight with no attempt at secrecy.
They certainly had a bold plan this time, Mr. Harding.
Well, that very boldness did half of the criminals' work for them. I'm not sure that I wouldn't have been taken in by this scheme myself.
I wired to the address this butler gave me and got back a very impressive answer.
Well, I'm having that address checked now. Probably it's just a mail drop.
Well, the whole thing is so incredible.
Well, now, try to calm down, Mr. Tiffin. See if you can describe the people involved. This man, Butler, you remember what he looked like?
I'll never forget.
Let's have the description, then.
He was 5 feet 9 or 10, blue eyes, bald-headed, pale complexion, had a little red mustache. Very smooth talker.
Yes, I can imagine. What about the other two who were supposed to be actors?
Well, they both had makeup on. The man, I can't tell you much about. He just impressed me as a Hollywood-type gangster.
And the woman?
Now, there's something. I'm sure I've seen her before.
Oh, you have?
But I can't for the life of me remember where or when.
On a trip someplace, perhaps?
I just don't know, Mr. Harding.
Well, forget about it for a while. Those things can't be forced. Now, anything else you can think of? Something that happened during or before the robbery?
Oh, yes, there was one thing that struck me a little queer.
What was that?
The tough, the man who was supposed to be Pretty Boy Lupton, he told Butler to stop hamming, that he wasn't on the stage.
Oh?
He made it sound like Butler was the actor instead of him. And he was, because he certainly fooled me.
And a few other people.
Oh, thank heaven for that. It takes some of the edge off my stupidity.
Oh, Peter, did you get anything out of the sergeant?
Nothing but volcanic eruptions, Chief. I've never seen a man so angry.
You can hardly blame him.
State troopers just called in. They found 2 abandoned cars about 20 miles out of town. One of them a station wagon. Both answered the description of the cars used in the holdup.
We better get out there, then.
Oh, I've got it, Mr. Harding.
What?
The girl, where I saw her before.
Yeah?
It was in a picture.
An actress?
Well, yes. We had a businessman's dinner about 4 or 5 months ago. We showed some commercial pictures. She was in one of them.
Would you know where you got them?
No, I don't, but the secretary of our entertainment committee would know.
Well, call him and get the address. Then stay here until you hear from me. I'll get in touch with you as soon as we look over those abandoned cars.
Now, they switched cars here, all right, Chief. Bronson from our laboratory says there are impressions of 3 different sets of tires.
Well, there's this makeup kit that interests me.
Tiffin said the 2 actors wore makeup.
I don't know much about the theater, but this looks like a professional kit to me.
New York manufacturer. We can't try tracing it.
Yeah, we will. What about the car? Stolen?
Yes, the station wagon belongs to a New York florist. Bronson scraped off that Picture Productions label on the door. The florist's name was underneath.
New York. One crook tells another to stop hamming. A makeup kit. Plenty of theater in this crime.
The whole idea was theatrical.
And it worked. Is there a phone in this laboratory unit?
Yes, Chief. Who are you going to call?
Tiffin. I want to find out if he's got the address of the place where his club got those films.
No.
Operator.
This is Harding, Counterspy Mobile Unit. Please connect me with Mr. Tiffin at the Bank of Kelby.
One moment, sir.
Thank you. That's a funny thing. When Pretty Boy Lupton held up the bank at Kelby, he got just about the same amount of money.
Took him longer to do the job, though.
Hello?
These modern crooks with their new equipment. Oh, hello, Mr. Tiffin. This is Harding.
Oh, yes, sir. I got that address.
Good. May I have it?
Carl Genoa, 1532 North Broadway, New York.
Everything's in New York.
Except us.
We'll remedy that. Mr. Tiffin.
Yes?
Can you take time off from the bank for a trip to New York?
If it will help solve this, certainly.
Well, I hope it will. Pack some clothes. You may be a day or two. Now, Mr. Peters and I'll pick you up on our way in. We'll go right out to the airport.
Flight 2 from Boston arriving on runway 3. Plane for Chicago will be delayed 10 minutes.
You counterspies work fast, Mr. Harding. I never dreamed I'd be at LaGuardia Airport this evening.
Speed's half the battle against crime, Mr. Tiffin. Have you got everything straight, Peters?
Yes, Chief. I checked the manufacturer of the makeup kit and then dropped in on Genoa and looked through his film catalog for the girl.
Right.
And keep in touch with you through Brewster of Theatrical Weekly.
That's right.
And we're going to see him, Mr. Harding?
Yes. He's one of the editors. Theatrical Weekly probably has more pictures of actors on file than any other place. I've asked Brewster to search through those files and pick out every actor's picture that fits the description you gave us. You'll have 1,000 of them to look at least.
I'm willing and able, Mr. Harding.
Well, I hope you feel the same way at the end of the night. All right, Peters, get going. I'll hear from you by phone.
There you are. are, Mr. Harding. 827 pictures of actors 30 to 35 years old, 5 feet 8 to 5 feet 11 inches tall, including elevator shoes.
Oh, Mr. Brewster, I said bald also.
You don't know actors, Mr. Harding. There are no bald ones between 30 and 35. They all wear toupees, particularly when they have their pictures taken.
Oh, dear me.
Well, as I know, Mr. Tiffin. Do you think you could detect some resemblance even if he is wearing a toupee?
It's possible.
Well, I'll tell you
yes,
what. You lay aside any picture that looks even faintly like this man Butler. Then I'll have all those retouched and you can go over them again.
Well, I'll try, Mr. Harding.
Good. Mr. Brewster, have you got any spot where Mr. Tiffin might look at these pictures undisturbed?
Next office, we'll carry the pictures in there. Just put them on that desk and pull up a chair.
Thank you.
Now, take all the time you want, Mr. Tiffin. Don't overlook a single picture he might fit.
I'll do my best, Mr. Harding.
Tell me, Mr. Harding, do you really think an actor engineered this job?
Well, the circumstances all point to it.
Well, then you're in luck.
What do you mean?
He'll pull some boner, trip himself up somehow.
He hasn't so far. The whole schemes have been pretty clever. He's played his part beautifully.
That's the trouble with actors. They let a good part blind them to a bad play. He'll mess up the end some way, whoever he is.
You don't seem to be very fond of actors.
Me, I love them, adore them. They're the most charming children in the world, but spare me from their thinking.
Go on. I could use a little insight into the psychology of an actor.
Well, I have the greatest respect in the world for them as actors. As anything else, no. In fact, they should be quick frozen.
What?
Yeah, like meat. You put them in a pot, let them play it. Then when it's over, you put them in a quick freezer until another pot comes along. This way you don't have to pay them or feed them, and all they have to do is act. Which is all they want to do anyway, the screwballs.
It's a novel idea, at least.
Yes, actors should be quick probably the call you were expecting, Mr. Harding. You take it.
Oh, thank you. Hello?
Is Mr. Harding...
Speaking, Peter.
Oh, Chief.
You got something?
Yes, but I don't believe it.
What?
It just doesn't happen this way.
What are you talking about? Did the makeup kit turn up anything?
Makeup kit? Who cares for that? Chief, I'm calling you from the offices of Carl Genoa.
You knew the girl?
You, the girl. Look, Chief, now, I have not been drinking. Get that cleared.
It makes some sense, Peters.
I can't, because I just walked in as Genoa finished processing a moving picture of the holdup.
What?
That's right. They really took pictures.
Oh, no.
I said the same thing, Chief, but I'm holding the film in my hand.
How could anybody be so stupid?
I'll bite. How?
You stay there. I'll be over right away.
Don't worry. I couldn't move now. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Did something happen, Mr. Harding?
They actually took pictures of the holdup.
See, I knew it. I knew he'd pull a boner.
That's so stupid. How could anybody...
Actor psychology, Mr. Harding. It's not stupidity, it's vanity. There isn't a ham in the world who'd pass up a chance to look at himself acting.
Yeah? Well, that's one picture I'm going to see right now. All right, Genoa, are you going to tell us where the man who brought you this picture lives?
I don't know where he lives, Mr. Harding.
You just print films for anyone?
He was sent by a girl I know, Dolly Norton.
Of course, you had no idea that there was a bank robbery on the film.
No, look, I got nothing to do with bank robberies. I got my own business.
I'm sure you have. What kind is it that gives the crook such confidence in you?
Well, that's my affair. You want to arrest me, you got to prove something.
At the moment, I'm not interested in the films you're peddling. I'm interested in this man.
Why don't you take the picture, make blow-ups? You can put his face in every post office in the country.
That's the hard way. You're going to help us do it the easy way.
I don't want to get any more mixed up in this than I am already.
You think you have a choice?
You're going to give the picture to the man who brought it in.
But this
and
is
just
not...
to make sure you don't get cute, Peters is going to stay here with you. I'll be outside, Peters. If anybody picks up that film, we tail him.
Right, Chief.
But I don't know when he's coming. Who knows how long you'll have to wait?
That's all right, Genoa. We've got plenty of time. If you don't cooperate with us, you'll get plenty of time, too.
All right, Dolly, what is it? What's the idea of this meeting?
It's a surprise, Gus.
What kind of a surprise?
Wait till Marty gets.
That ham? Told you we were finished with him the minute the job was over.
Now, Gus, you gotta admit it was a good idea. Look all the dough we made.
And I don't care. Ever since we tied in with him, I've been unhappy. The way he thinks. Comes at you from left field.
Nevertheless, we still got a lot of dough.
Yeah. And I'd rather do a straight stick-up for less cash. That's the way it's going to be from now on. Now, what's this surprise?
Well...
Come on, Dolly. Don't be cute.
All right. We got pictures of the job.
You what?
There was film in the camera.
Well, are you crazy?
Don't get excited, Gus. Nobody will see him but us.
Oh, no, you can't be on the level. You You're kidding, aren't you?
Oh, really?
What did Marty do? Take him down to the corner drugstore to be developed?
Of course not. I told him about Genoa. He did the job for him.
It's another guy in on it here.
Oh, you know Genoa. He can't say anything to anybody about anything. Not with what I got on him.
Did you know that he was going to do this, Dolly?
No, he told me after. That's him now.
Let him in.
Hello, Dolly. I
I told Gus, Marty. I thought he'd want to see him, too.
Come in here, you spindle-headed, bird-brained Barrymore.
Now, just a minute, Gus.
Hey, give me those films before you play the best death scene you ever played in your life.
Oh, look, this whole job was my idea. I got some rights in it.
I'll give you rights in the head.
Gus, it's done. At least let's look at the pictures, and then we can burn them.
What's he going to use for eyes when I get through with them?
You got a lot of money from my idea, Gus.
And I'll get a lot of time, too. You give me those films or so help me.
No, Gus.
Put your gun away, Gus.
You heard the lady, Gus. Put it away. On the floor.
Yes, we wouldn't like to shoot.
Who are you?
United States Counterspy. Come on, Gus, drop it.
Counterspy.
Now, Butler.
You'll give Mr. Peters those films?
Right here, Butler.
But how? You don't know. You can't.
Go ahead, Hambone. Get an idea for this scene.
But I figured something. All the parts.
You had a bad final act, Butler. We didn't like it, so we're rewriting it right now. All right, Peters, bring him along.
Mr. Harding will return in just a moment. Here's something interesting. We're getting lots of repeat orders for our special offer of a stainless steel slicing knife. Yes, a great many people have sent in a second time. When they received their first one, they were so pleased with it that they sent in for more. Now, I'm not surprised at that because we guarantee this stainless steel slicing knife to be the equal of knives selling at 75 cents to $1.
What's more, it has a blade that is hollow ground, a feature usually found only in knives costing $2 or more.
Yet, we offer the stainless steel slicing knife to you for only 25 cents in coin, with 2 wrappers from either Old Nick or Bit of Honey candy bars sent to Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York. We can make this offer only by special arrangement with a famous cutlery manufacturer. He is the only one in the country who has this new secret process by which long-lasting stainless steel can be successfully hollow ground. We guarantee that this stainless steel slicing knife would compare favorably with knives costing 75 cents to $1, even without the special process, hollow grinding. But hollow grinding gives this knife longer life, a keener edge, and greater usefulness. So you're really getting extra value, an outstanding bargain buy. Now remember the address, Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York. For each stainless steel slicing knife you want, send us 2 wrappers from either Old Nick or Bit of Honey candy bars and 25 cents in coin. This offer must be withdrawn very soon, so be sure of your quick-cut slicing knife. Send your order today.
This is David Harding. In the case you just heard, all the parties pleaded guilty. There was nothing else they could do, having provided the pictorial evidence themselves. They're serving long terms in the federal penitentiary, and I understand Butler is quite a hit as a leading man at Leavenworth.
Tune in next Sunday, same time, same station, for the case of the man with the tattooed eye who successfully buried himself until the counterspies had him fingered by a woman in white. The award-winning Case of the Recruited Nurse on David Harding, Counterspy. Tonight's David Harding Counterspy case was directed by William M. Sweets and dramatized by Palmer Thompson, with music by Jesse Crawford and featured Don MacLaughlan and Mandel Kramer. David Harding Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production, originating in New York for the makers of Old Nick and Bit of Honey candy bars. Now a listening reminder. Nobody knows for certain what is going to happen, but Drew Pearson makes astounding predictions of news events to come. Hear Pearson tonight. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
And from 77 years ago, May 30th, 1948, Counterspy on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Kosh. Of course, that couldn't happen again. No, because everything would be digital today. You know, either on videotape or digital. That'd be the way that would work. Okay, we roll on with Classic Radio Theater. After the break, we will have an episode of This Is Your FBI, from 1952 and the Larceny Express.
How many people are there in a crowd of 10 million? Do you have any picture in your mind, or is that figure too overwhelming? Well, 10 million is more people than there are in Chicago, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles combined. And that's how many men, women, and children in our country are suffering from some form of mental illness. Yes, 10 million. Among that 10 million, maybe there's someone you know, a neighbor, friend, or a relative. So you see, mental illness is a problem that concerns us all. And that's why we are all being asked to give to our local mental health campaign to fight mental illness. The best weapon is research. Research to find out how to prevent mental illness. Your doctors can be helped by your dollars. They can learn enough to really lick this number one problem, mental illness. The victims of mental illness need your help desperately. Give to your local mental health campaign.
We continue on this very larcenous and espionage-filled Friday of classic radio theater. We'll go back 73 years to May 30th, 1952, staying with ABC, and an episode of This Is Your FBI and the Larceny Express.
The Equitable Life Assurance Society presents This Is Your FBI. This is Your FBI, the official broadcast from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Presented transcribed as a public service by the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States and the Equitable Society's representative in your community. If the future is your biggest worry, and it is to most of us, then you'll be interested in a man who can help you solve it. He is your local representative of the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States, an organization of 6 million members who have joined together to provide for their future security. In about 12 minutes, I'd like to tell you more about Equitable Society men and how they may help you enjoy the advantages of membership in the Equitable Society. Tonight, the subject of our FBI file, armed robbery. Its title, The Larceny Express.
This is Memorial Day, and throughout the country, Americans have decorated the graves of men who died, that others might continue to live in freedom. It is, of course, fitting that those men should be so honored, but it would also be fitting if on this day the graves of other men were made greener. Other men who, though not military or naval personnel, were also fighting for the freedom of others when they met their premature deaths. Those men have come from the ranks of the law enforcement agencies of America, local, county, state, and federal. The job of law enforcement officials is to fight our homegrown army of criminals, an army which, like any other, uses various instruments of death. No police officer knows when the phone will ring and call him, nor, like the soldier, does he know in advance where his assignment may take him or whether he'll survive. Tonight's FBI file opens in a railroad cut in the hill country of a New England state. It is late at night, and the whistle of a southbound freight is heard in the distance. In the darkness of the cut, 2 men huddle against an embankment. The train whistle is heard again. One of the men steps forward, cups his hands, and yells,
Okay, Pete!
With that, a man at the far end of the cut steps onto the tracks and lights a flare.
Just stop it.
Yeah.
Because the flare which stopped the train has been planted at a carefully chosen point, the train is strung from one end of the cut to the other, and right opposite the point where the 2 men have been huddling is a sealed freight car.
This is the car, Harry.
Right.
They break the seal on the freight car. Other men tear open the door of the car ahead. The men work quickly, professionally. They unload 3 cartons of wristwatches from one car, 4 large cartons of nylon stockings from the other. By the time the cartons are moved off the freight cars, the train crew has inspected the track beyond the cut, found nothing wrong, and signaled for the train to start again.
She's pulling out. Okay, start moving the stuff out.
Later that night, at an FBI field office, Special Agent Bob Dixon reports to Supervisor Carl Norwood.
Dixon, I'm sorry to get you out of bed.
That's all right, Carl.
Something's come up that we've got to start working on immediately.
What's that?
At 9:27 tonight, a freight train was stopped at the cut near Moose Lake. The robbers planted a flare to halt the train and broke into 2 sealed cars.
What was stolen?
4 cartons of nylon stockings and 3 cartons of wristwatches, worth about $8,000 altogether.
Mm-hmm. How long was the train stopped?
Not more than 10 minutes. As soon as the crew inspected the track ahead and found nothing wrong, the train continued on its way.
Do we have any leads?
Not yet. The robbery wasn't discovered until the train pulled in here a few minutes ago.
Oh?
Railroad police have started to investigate, so coordinate with them. You know Inspector Farrell at their office?
Yeah, Leo and I are old friends. I'll go over and see him.
Joe, let me give you a hand.
No, I can make it. Everything okay here?
Mm-hmm. Where are the other guys?
Out in the boat.
How'd the job go?
Great till we got stuck out there.
You run out of gas?
No, the water looked plenty deep, but that white sand fooled us.
What's the loot?
Nylons and wristwatches.
Easy to peddle.
Mm-hmm, and there's plenty of it. You find a phone?
There's a pay booth about a mile up the beach.
Good. I'll call Porky, see if he can handle this big a deal.
Maybe you better wait till we get a truck.
Waiting's for chumps. We'll steal a truck tomorrow morning and get this stuff to Springtown.
Bob? Hi, Leo.
You want the freight car case?
Yeah. This one of the cars they broke into?
Yeah, they're over there on the next siding.
Huh?
We got one lead already.
What's that?
Sheriff Guthrie called from Moose Lake and said there was a boat reported stolen tonight from the hillside of the lake. Yeah. While we were talking, word came in that it was found floating free. He's out inspecting it now.
Good.
He also sent down the flare that was used to stop the train. Oh, here we are.
Hey, these look like fresh scratches on the lock. Could be tool marks.
Yeah.
Wait till I get some chalk out of the kit. Here we are. Well, it's just so we don't forget to shoot a picture of it.
Nothing else on the door there. Want to go in?
Okay. I got it, Leo.
This is the one they stole the watches from.
Mm-hmm. Any idea where those cartons were in the car?
Yeah, here, close to the door.
I'll dust these crates. We might get some prints.
Let's give you enough light?
Yeah, thanks.
As soon as we finish here, I'm driving up to Moose Lake. You want to come along?
When'll that express be in with the flare?
About 2 hours.
Well, I'd better wait and get it to our lab. Then I'll come up and meet you.
That you, Joe?
Yeah. I finally located the fence to handle this stuff.
You run into anybody on the beach?
Nope.
You must have walked the other way.
Who?
The sheriff.
Oh?
He was here a couple of minutes ago asking a lot of questions.
He come in?
No, but he might want to when he comes back.
Well, maybe he won't be back.
He's got to. His boat's tied to the dock.
Better wake the other guys.
They're gone. They went into Pittsfield to get the truck. They said to be back as soon as it gets dark.
Oh.
Joe, we can't stall that sheriff till then. If you don't find anything along the rest of the beach, he'll want to come in.
Forget about him.
But, Joe, he didn't come here by accident. Must have found out some way you brought the stuff over here last night. Once he comes in and gets a look at those boxes...
Look, don't worry. When he gets back, I'll take care of him.
Been, Bob.
I've been here sooner, but I waited for the report on that flare.
Yeah? They bring up any prints?
Not enough to get an ident. Where's Sheriff Guthrie?
Other side of the lake, and I'm worried about him.
Worried? Why?
Well, he hasn't called in since he left this morning.
What made him go to the other side of the lake?
Oh, he left a report. It's on that stolen boat. He found quite a few traces of white sand in it, and there's only one spot around the lake with white sand. That's Craven's Point, just about opposite here.
Mm-hmm. That report show who the boat belonged to?
Yeah, and Sheriff Guthrie interviewed him. The owner's never been to Craven's Point. So that sand was probably left by the thieves.
Are you familiar with Craven's Point?
Yeah.
What's it like?
Not much there, except an old boathouse and this white sand beach.
Then if the thieves landed there at the boathouse, somebody might have seen them.
Well, the place is only open during the summer.
Have you had a look at the scene of the robbery?
Yes. The only thing I found was a heel print.
Just one?
And there was evidence of other footprints, but none of them were deep enough to make an impression then.
You make one of the heel prints?
Mm-hmm. It's in my car.
Oh.
Bob, you know, it's 6 o'clock now. I know Guthrie. He wouldn't be gone all day without checking in. Not unless something happened to him.
Can we get a boat and go over to Craven's Point?
Yeah. There's a place here that rents them. I'll call and see if they're open.
See anything, Leo?
That's the dock.
What does Guthrie's boat look like?
Speedboat. About a 30-footer.
Oh?
Has county sheriff's office across the stern and a star on each side.
Star? What color?
Mahogany.
Pretty tough to see this time of night.
I'm afraid so.
Leo, is that a boat?
Sure.
Tied to the dock.
Yeah, it is.
Well, keep your gun handy. I'm going to pull up next to it.
Bob?
Yeah?
Guthrie. Got the rope.
Hook it. Now, wait till I see if I can reach his boat. There, I got it.
Empty.
Yeah.
Maybe they're holding him inside the boathouse.
Uh-huh. Cover me. I'm going to shore.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on.
No lights in the house.
How do you get in there?
Well, there's a door on either side and one in front.
What's beyond the house?
Dirt road to the main highway.
Anybody living along the road?
A few farmers.
Hold it.
Huh?
I saw a light.
Where?
Down there through the slats in the dock.
In the water?
Yeah. It's shining on something. It looks like a flashlight.
It is a flashlight.
Leo, look beside it. A body.
That's Guthrie.
We will return in just a moment to tonight's exciting case from the official files of your FBI. When you have a legal problem, you go to a lawyer. If it's a health problem, you consult a doctor. But if your problem is your future, who is the best man to consult? Well, Mr. David C. Gardner found an answer to that problem by joining the Equitable Society. I wonder if you'd tell us, Mr. Gardner, why you joined the Equitable Society.
It was this program, Mr. Keating. You see, money for future security was my problem. So when I heard about a plan described over this program that seemed a way out for me, well, I called my local Equitable Society representative.
You're right, Mr. Gardner. You have nothing to lose, possibly everything to gain by discussing your life insurance problems with an Equitable Society agent. How did it turn out, Mr. Gardner?
Well, I did myself and my family a big favor. My equitable agent worked out a plan that gives me security and peace of mind I've never known before.
Well, that is the goal of every Equitable Society representative, helping provide economic freedom for American families. Life insurance is his career. He has made an intensive study of all forms of life insurance. He knows the advantages of each. He can show you how to get the most from your insurance dollar. And he is backed by a staff of highly trained experts in the home office, actuaries, technicians, economists. Millions of families like Mr. Gardner's have discovered this. The right Equitable Society plan can assure you peace of mind and future security. If that's what you want, don't put it off. Get acquainted with the man who can help you most. Consult your local telephone directory for the name of your local Equitable representative. Or write this station.
That's EQUITABLE.
The Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. And now back to tonight's FBI file, the Larceny Express.
Special Agent Dixon and Railroad Police Inspector Leo Farrell immediately removed Sheriff Guthrie's body from the water and began artificial respiration. However, it was impossible to revive him. The county coroner's preliminary examination established that Sheriff Guthrie's death was due not to drowning, but to a skull fracture incurred when he was struck from behind with a blunt instrument. That changed the status of this case. For now, it was not only a theft from an interstate shipment, but murder. Tonight's FBI file continues later that night in the boathouse. Agent Dixon is examining one of the bedrooms.
Bob? Last room on the left, Leo.
Found a heel print out front, and I think it matches the one from the scene of the robbery.
Oh. You make an impression?
Yeah, and I also made a cast of some tire tracks, pretty deep ones. Looks like they were made by a truck.
Well, there's nothing in this room. Let's go across the hall.
How many rooms were used?
4 so far.
Find anything in them?
Well, I got a few prints off a whiskey bottle. Lipstick on these cigarette butts.
The pillowcase is pretty smudged.
I better send these things to the lab. They might be able to tell us what brand of cosmetic the woman uses.
How about the butts?
Yeah, I'll take them, too. Mind dumping them into this envelope?
Oh, here you are.
Thanks.
Well, any other rooms?
Nope. Let's head back to town.
Katie. Hey, Katie. Wake up, will you?
Where are we?
Locked from the garage, can't you see?
I can, now that my eyes are open. Light already? You been driving all night?
No. Harry had the wheel for a couple of hours.
He in back with the others?
Yeah.
Sorry I wasn't better company.
That's okay.
What are you going to do about this truck?
Well, after we unload, Harry takes it and leaves it.
Where?
Any place.
Without a truck, how do we get the stuff in the fence?
Part of the deal was he's got to move it himself.
Oh. What are you stopping out here for?
I don't know if I can get into that garage.
You can't unload on the sidewalk.
Now, stick your head out and watch that overhead door.
Okay. Okay, so far. Keep going. Easy. It's awful close.
Can I make it?
You're okay so far. Go ahead. Another couple of feet and you're clear. Easy. Okay, you're in.
I'll get the guys out. We'll unload.
Later that morning, Agent Dixon reported back to Supervisor Carl Norwood at the FBI field office.
Carl, I got more news on that freight car robbery. This teletype just came in from the lab.
Oh, what do they think?
The lipstick, powder, and rouge were all common brands sold everywhere. However, from the shades, they suggest the woman probably is a blonde. The fingerprints found on the whiskey bottle match the ones from the flare that was planted on the railroad track.
Was that heel print found near the flare?
Oh, but this next report says the heel print at the scene of the robbery duplicates the one found outside the boathouse.
That pretty definitely establishes the thieves went to that boathouse after the robbery.
Hmm.
You got a report back on this tire impression?
Not yet, but Farrell and I called on a few farmers along a dirt road near the lake.
Yes?
At one of the places, a farmer remembered seeing a truck pass his place last night.
Could he describe the truck?
Well, it was big, painted black, had a canvas roof. I put in a call for the state police. If they can check the gas station along the main highway for us, some attendant might remember the truck.
At the FBI laboratory, technicians were busy examining the plaster tire impressions and comparing them with various standards. Every tire company uses different shaped treads, and a sample of each style is kept on file for use in cases like this, where a single set of fingerprints can be identified in a few minutes out of a collection of more than 123 million sets. Matching a tire impression frequently takes longer. However, a few hours later...
Oh, we got that laboratory report.
On the tires?
Yep. They're made exclusively for Pioneer trucks.
Quite a few Pioneers around.
We've got a district sales office here.
Try to get a list from them of every truck they've sold in this area.
Within the hour, that list was obtained. Agent Dixon called every truck owner. He learned where their trucks had been the night before. He got the name of every driver. One after another, those names were eliminated.
Well, I think we got a break.
What's that?
An express company in Pittsfield reported one of their trucks was stolen yesterday. It's a Pioneer, painted black with a canvas top.
Pittsfield, huh?
They could have driven from there to Craven's Point last night without any trouble.
You got the license number?
Yeah. Also the motor number and speedometer reading.
Send out an all-points alarm.
All local and state police in the surrounding area were notified by teletype. That missing truck now loomed as the only chance your FBI had of locating these criminals. An hour went by after the alarm was sent out. 2 hours. Then...
Inspector Farrell.
Leo, this is Bob Dixon. The truck's been found.
Where?
Just outside Springtown.
The goods in it?
No, but I'll pick you up in 10 minutes and we'll drive over there. Leo, the speedometer reads 9,460.
You know what it was when the truck was stolen?
Yeah, 9,138, so it's been driven...
Pencil?
No, I got one, thanks. Truck's been driven 322 miles.
Uh-huh. Well, it's 43 miles from Pittsfield to Craven's Point.
Well, that leaves, let me see, 279. That chart give the distance between Craven's Point and Springtown?
Well, it should. 274 miles.
Well, that leaves 5 miles unaccounted for. So they stand on a pretty straight line between Craven's Point and here.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably wouldn't drive too far after unloading the loot.
Well, we can't search every building in Springtown.
No, I guess not. Well, let's look over the truck.
Right. You go ahead, huh?
Right. Come on.
There's some glass over there.
Uh-huh. Painted green.
It's kind of thin, too.
Yeah, it might be from a window pane.
Mm-hmm.
Leo, there's a slit in the canvas top right above us.
Yeah.
That could have been ripped by this glass.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bigger than average truck. Might have trouble getting into a regular garage.
The kind that has a front door swinging overhead?
Yeah.
But the only places using those overhead doors are warehouses and big garages.
Leo, the chief of police here went to the FBI National Academy. Maybe he has a list we can work from.
Where's the next stop, Bob?
Well, we've covered all the warehouses.
Any garages left?
5. Turn right on the corner.
Okay.
A couple doors down.
At the place?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Hey.
Yeah?
Overhead door, Bob.
Yeah, I see that, Leo.
And a couple of panes broken.
And the others are painted green.
You see inside?
Yeah. Doesn't seem to be anybody around.
Let's try that side door.
Right. Here you are. Go ahead. Leo.
Huh?
Those cartons in back.
What about them?
Well, look. This is the loot, all right. The boxes are still full.
Oh. Yeah, now all we've got to do is... 2 men and a woman.
Down, they're coming this way.
If we got no
I'll do another job at least.
Not me. Why?
We get paid, I'm laying off the floor.
You'll never get to be a big operator that way.
Neither will you.
What?
Joe.
Don't reach. You're all under arrest.
Because of the murder of Sheriff Guthrie, all subjects in this case were turned over to state authorities and received long prison sentences. Because the records sent to your FBI by local police departments do not always list the names of officers killed in the line of duty, it is impossible to pay individual respects to those brave men. However, on this Memorial Day, the Federal Bureau of Investigation wishes to take this opportunity to do homage to every law enforcement officer who throughout the years has lost his life, including these 16 FBI special agents: Edwin C. Shanahan,
Paul E. Reynolds,
Albert L. Ingle,
Raymond J. Caffrey,
Rupert V. Surratt,
W. Carter Baum,
Samuel P. Cowley,
Herman E. Hollis,
Nelson B. Klein,
Wimberly W. Baker,
Truett E. Rowe,
William R. Ramsey, Jr.,
Hubert J. Tracy, Jr.,
Percy E. Foxworth,
Harold D. Haberfield,
J. Cordis Delworth.
May they rest in peace.
Did you know that very few people know how to make the best use of their money? Well, it's true. People spend too much time worrying about how to get more money than how to make the best use of what they have. Now, there is one man who can help you make every dollar count. He is your local Equitable Society agent. He is ready at any time and without obligation to you to help you plan for future security and peace of mind. Simply consult your local telephone directory for the name of your local representative of the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States.
Next week, we will dramatize another case from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Its subject, interstate transportation of gambling devices. Its title, Jackpot.
The incidents used in tonight's Equitable Life Assurance Society's broadcast are adapted from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. However, all names used are fictitious, and any similarity thereof to the names of places or persons, living or dead, is accidental. Tonight, the music was composed and conducted by Frederick Steiner. The author was Jerry D. Lewis. Your narrator was William Woodson. Others in the cast were Newton Arnold, Billy Hallop, Lamont Johnson, Charlotte Lawrence, Tom Tully, and Carlton Young. This Is Your FBI is a Jerry Devine production. This is Larry Keating speaking for the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States and the Equitable Society's representative in your community, and inviting you to tune in again next week at this same time when the Equitable Life Assurance Society will bring you another thrilling transcribed story from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Jackpot on This Is Your FBI. Stay tuned for the adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. There's fun for the whole family when Ozzie and Harriet come your way next. This program came to you from Hollywood.
Camel album singing inserts for second commercial for April 25th, Diamond.
Robert Young would walk a mile for camels and with haste, for he smoked camels quite a while. They suit his throat and taste. Camels, smoke camels, and see how mild a cigarette can be.
Well, there you go. A little bonus commercial there. 73 years ago, May 30th, 1952. This is your FBI here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, we'll have Suspense. Ronald Colman stars in a 1945 episode of August Heat. We'll also have from 1948 Bob Bailey and Let George Do It and The Island in the Lake. Cavalcade of America from 1943, Mr. Lincoln's Wife, as Helen Hayes stars in the tragic personal story of Mary Todd Lincoln. And then we'll have an episode of Dragnet, The Big Bindle from 1951, and we'll wrap it all up with actually something very strange, an excerpt from the Orson Welles Radio Almanac show, and it is from 1944. You remember a few days ago we had Orson Welles in Donovan's Brain on Suspense. It seems on his own show he parodied it. I'll get the word out in a moment, but the parody may have been part of the reason why that was his last episode of Suspense. We don't know, but it's very, very funny. And we'll have that excerpt also on our Saturday show. On Sunday, we'll go back to the FBI, but this one with the FBI in Peace and War from 1955. A 1958 episode of Suspense, Vincent Price stars in Rave Notice. An episode of The Hall of Fantasy from 1953 and The Telltale Heart. And John Daner as the Frontier Gentleman, J.B. Kendall, in a 1958 episode entitled School Days. On Monday, we'll get back to comedy with a couple of 1953 shows, My Friend Irma and Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis with their guest Jeff Chandler. Fibber McGee and Molly from 1942, Uncle Dennis Has Disappeared. And a 1954 episode of You Bet Your Life with Groucho Marx. And let's see, we'll follow that up with Lum and Abner. Of course, many of these will have Lum and Abner following. And then on Tuesday, we'll stay with comedy with the 1951 episode of Archie Andrews and the Economy Program, the last show of the season of the 1951 series of Jack Benny shows. Humphrey Bogart joins Bob Hope from 1941, and an episode of Harold Lloyd's Old Gold Comedy Theater from 1945, Having a Wonderful Crime. Wednesday, we'll hear a summer series from CBS, Steve Allen, as he did a summer series with Eve Arden. We'll also have a 1950 episode of My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball and Richard Denning. Henry Morgan from 1947, and Mr. Ace and Jane from 1948. And that's just some of what's coming up this week. We will have the course classicradio.stream. Classicradio.stream. I want to tell you now, coming up next Friday and Saturday, those are the anniversaries of D-Day and D-Day Plus One. And we'll have episodes that actually aired on those days, June 6th and June 7th, 1944. Red Skelton, The Passing Parade, Fibber McGee and Molly, Columbia Presents Corwin, Ginny Sims, H.V. Kaltenborn, Bob Hope on Friday. On Saturday, we'll have Orson Welles' Almanac, Arch Obler's Plays, and some soap operas, The Guiding Light, Ma Perkins, Pepper Young's Family, Mary Noble, Backstage Wife, and Vic and Say. That's all coming up next week here. I want you to make sure you're with us next Friday and Saturday and look for those, won't you please? Alrighty, coming up next on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, The Green Hornet.
Here's a word that millions of people in Europe fear, a word as destructive and deadly as a weapon. It is hunger. Many millions knew it during the war and know it still. One of the best ways we can help is by sending food parcels through CARE. CARE sends food and clothing packages which provide more per dollar than individuals can supply any other way. For instance, one food package costing $10 contains 24.5 pounds of food. CARE guarantees delivery of this food package to any individual or group in 11 countries in Europe and in Israel and Japan. So if you want to send a food package overseas, just mail $10 to CARE. Give your name and address and the name and address of the person the package is going to. Help care for them through CARE. Remember, you can send more for less through CARE.
We roll on here with another episode of Espionage here on Classic Radio Theater. This episode from 1939, 86 years ago. Al Hodge stars as the Green Hornet, and the story of words and music.
The Green Hornet. He hunts the biggest of all game, public enemies that even the G-men cannot reach. The Green Hornet. Adventure, words, and music. The events and characters depicted in this drama are fictitious. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental.
Let successful radio, talkie, and recording artists show you the glamorous road to fame and fortune. Write the words and music for a song hit. Let the 3 J's, Joe, Jack, and Jim, do the rest. We publish and distribute. We guarantee to put your song in the hands of leading movie producers, orchestras, and radio stations. Get out of the rut. Write a song. How's that sound for an ad?
Joe, you ought to quit music publishing and go in for ad writing. That'll get 'em.
Sounds good, Joe. But you ought to have something about send for our free booklet and full details. Oh, I got that here, right down at the bottom. Now, the idea is that we'll run this in all the cheap magazines with a blank to be sent in. We've fiddled around with this racket long enough. Now it's time to branch out.
That's the idea. Get into a nationwide business.
Hold on, Jack. Maybe we should get a lawyer to look things over. We'll be using the mails, you know.
I talked to the lawyer, Jim. We aren't breaking any laws.
What about that line, submitting songs to radio stations, dance bands, and all that?
We will. We'll submit them. If they toss them in the wastebasket, that's not our worry.
Okay.
Another thing the lawyer said.
What's that?
We ought to protect each other. I got some contracts here, see?
Contracts for what?
We all sign them. It's a partnership agreement, so we don't break up.
Break up?
Yeah. Suppose one of us lands a job with a radio sponsor or something.
None of us could. You know that, Jack. We worked as a harmony trio. We're washed up as far as that stuff goes.
Maybe your pipes were never good for solo stuff, but Jim can do a good tenor.
No, not me. I'm for the publishing racket. There's big dough in it. And we don't have to worry about commercial contracts running out.
Just the same, we should have an agreement. If one of us pulls out or dies, the other two get his share of the work.
That's fair enough, Jack. Sounds all right to me.
I thought it'd be okay with you two. If we're going into big business, we might as well be organized right.
And what about this ad? Is it okay with you two to go ahead and run it?
Sure.
The sooner we get started, the sooner the dough will begin rolling in. The
Advertising for the 3 J's was widely circulated throughout the country, and a few weeks later, cash came pouring into the publisher's office with every mail delivery. Hundreds of hopeful young people awaited the verdict of the racketeer trio, just as Waldo Fielding did.
Any mail for me today, Mother?
Yes, Waldo. There's a letter from that song publisher.
Where is it? Gee, I can hardly wait to hear what they say about my poem. Wouldn't it be swell if they put music to it and publish?
There's the letter, Waldo.
Gosh, if I could just get the start. Why, look at what some people make out of songs. I heard that sometimes a guy makes as much as... Ma!
What is it, Waldo?
They'll accept my poem.
They will?
Yeah, they like it. They'll have one of their best men write the tune, and then they'll publish it and see that it goes to all the radio stations and the movie studios and the dance bands. Oh, boy, I knew I could do it.
But, Waldo, won't they expect a lot of money for doing all that?
No. They say here that they'll take the chance on royalties. If I don't make anything, they won't make anything either. All I have to do is pay for the copyright and the printing cost and mailing.
But how much is that?
Well, I suppose it'll seem like a lot to you, Mom. It's about $50. $50? But that's not much, really. Why, I'll bet a lawyer would charge almost that much just to get the copyright for me. And it might bring me in as much as $500,000.
But, Waldo, $50, we haven't got that.
Well, I'll get it. I'll sell my camera, and I can get something for my banjo. The chances are that Steve will pay a little for my shotgun. I'll get the money. Don't you worry about it, Ma. You just wait. I'll be rich one of these days. I'm going to start on another song poem right away.
Several more weeks elapsed, and Joe, Jack, and Jim found a veritable gold mine in their venture. They expanded in their advertising, moved into larger offices, and then one day...
Hey, Joe. Jack.
Yeah, Jim?
The better business people have been checking up.
So what?
They don't like our way of doing business.
Oh, they don't, huh? Well, isn't that too bad? What are they going to do about it?
They'll probably publish some warnings about us.
The suckers that send lyrics and tunes to us won't listen to warnings. They're so convinced that their stuff is good, they'll believe whatever they want to believe. That's the psychology of this business.
I'm just passing on what that bird from the Business Bureau told me. He claims we're running a racket.
It isn't a racket at all. We take a certain fee for publishing a song, agree to secure copyright, furnish a tune or lyric, whichever is required, and have a certain number of copies printed and distributed.
And we do all those things.
Certainly. We fulfill our part of the contract to the letter. There isn't a law in the country that can touch us.
But it won't do us any good to have newspaper ads calling attention to our way of doing business.
Well, we can't stop it, can we?
Well, I thought if it was agreeable to you two, I'd make a few promises to stall things off for a while. We're really just getting a foothold.
An ad in a paper in one city isn't going to hurt us much. Our business is nationwide. Let them advertise. Can't hurt us.
Okay, Jack, it's up to you. And Joe?
I agree with Jack. Now, what about the tunes for this batch of stuff that came in today?
You got it all sorted according to meter, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's have it. I'll rap out a few little jingles and give them some music.
Seems to me it's kind of risky using the same tune for half a dozen different songs.
Nah, the stuff never amounts to anything. Nobody will ever hear it. What's the difference? I can't think of 150 new tunes every day.
You keep the stuff pretty well scattered, though, don't you, Jim?
Sure. For example, I'll use that tune, Moonlight Love, on the poem of a guy in New York, one in St. Louis, maybe one in Omaha, one on the West Coast. That saved me writing 4 different tunes, see?
Be kind of tough if the fellas ever got together and found they had the same tune.
Fat chance of that.
Well, what would happen if one of the songs became a hit?
A hit? That's a good one, Joe. How can any of this stuff ever be a hit? We'll see to it that it isn't.
I wanted to speak to you.
We're in conference.
What do you want here? My name is Fielding. Waldo Fielding. I sent you a song a few weeks ago. Remember the name?
Sorry, Fielding. We're in conference now. We can't be disturbed.
I've been trying for 4 days to see you. I spent all my money.
What do you want to see us about, kid?
My song.
Did you get your copies of it?
Yes, sir, but I wondered if there hadn't been some sales made.
Where are you from?
Simmons Corners.
Well, what are you doing here in the big city?
Well, I thought my song would be selling, so I came here. I thought I might be able to do better if I was working closer with you.
You see the girl in the outer office and ask her to check up on the sales of your song. But I doubt if it's had any sales yet. You know, it takes time to put the new things over.
Well, I thought I might make a personal appearance with an orchestra or something.
We'll send for you when we want you for that, kid.
I did speak to the girl.
What'd she tell you?
She said that there hadn't been any sales yet.
Well, that's the answer then. Why don't you go back to Simmons Corners or wherever your home is and stay there till we send for you?
Well, But look, there must be some sales. If you sent that song out to all the people you claim you did, I haven't eaten in 2 days. I got to have some money.
Well, what do you want us to do? Dish it out of our pockets? We're running a publishing house, not a traveler's aid.
Yes, sir.
We sent you 50 copies of the song. Why don't you go out in the street corner and try to peddle them or something? That's one way to drum up business.
Yes, sir. You want to buy a song? Say, mister, do you want to buy a copy of my song?
Not today.
Buy a copy of my song, lady.
Get out of my way, please.
Look, mister, do you want to take a copy of the newest song hit home?
Hey, you. What are you doing there blocking the traffic?
Oh, officer, I didn't mean anything.
What's this you're trying to peddle? Music?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to sell a song.
Maybe you'd better find out something about the laws of this town. You can't stand on street corners interfering with pedestrians, peddling music. Got a license?
License? No, sir, I haven't.
You'd better come down to the station house with me, I guess.
No, please, I didn't know.
Come on, kid. You can't get away with this sort of thing. Hey, suffering catfish, the kid's passed out.
What have you got there, Doyle?
Lowry, why is it that you're every place I am?
I learned when I first started in as reporter for the Sentinel, Doyle, that if I keep close enough to you, I see things happen. Yeah, what's the matter with the kid? You crown him with your nightstick?
No. I just started to take him in for peddling music on the street, and he passed out cold on me.
The kid looks half starved.
He does at that.
How long is it since he's eaten?
I don't know. Here, Lowry, stay with him till I call the wagon.
Yeah, maybe I'll get a story here. This looks like human interest stuff.
Ed Lowry, the star reporter of the Daily Sentinel, came into the office of the young publisher Britt Reed a couple of hours later. Miss Case, Reed's secretary, said,
Mr. Reed's not in now, Lowry.
But I gotta see him about a special story.
Still out.
Where?
How the dickens do I know where he goes? I'm the last one he tells. It's discouraging.
Discouraging? Hey, now listen, Casey. Don't get ideas that the boss is interested in you. He travels with the 400.
Don't be idiotic.
As far as Britt Reed is concerned, you're just part of the office furniture.
But I do wish he'd settled down long enough so I could write to his father with some feeling of confidence.
What's the trouble?
Oh, just as soon as I write Mr. Reed and tell him that Britt's taking an interest in the Daily Sentinel, he disappears.
Lady, if I had his dough, I'd never come to the office.
During the past week, he's been out to some affair almost every night. He's bored with the office again.
Well, he'll get his fill of nightlife and then settle down again.
Yes, until he gets his fill of the newspaper business again.
Oh, here he is. Say, boss, I ran into Doyle, the big cop, today.
Oh, yes?
And he had a kid in tow. The kid had passed out from hunger. But when Doyle spotted him first, he was trying to peddle a song he'd written.
A song?
And it ties right in with the racket we've been working on.
What racket was that, Larry?
Music publishing. You know, those wildcat publishers that call themselves Joe, Jack, and Jim, the 3 J's?
Who are they?
A broken-down vocal trio that hit a good racket. I got a first-hand story from one of the victims of the racket. The poor kid got just enough encouragement from them to quit his job and leave home. Here's the song he wrote. I brought a copy for you.
Well, leave it with Miss Case. I'll take it with me when I get home.
Well, what about my story? I got pictures of the kid.
Well, speak to the city editor about it. He's paid to handle that sort of thing.
But maybe there's editorial meat in it.
Gunnigan's the best judge for that.
Oh, hang it all.
What's the matter, Larry?
Well, look here, boss.
Take it to Gunnigan, Larry.
Okay. I'll take it to Gunnigan. There's the words and music.
Mr. Reed.
Yes, Miss Case?
I'm going to stick my neck out again. Isn't there something we can do to make the office more attractive for you?
Oh, no, it's quite all right, Miss Case.
Then why can't... Why won't you...
Oh, I understand, Miss Case. You're concerned again because I'm spending too little time around here.
Frankly, I am, Mr. Reed. I hate to keep writing your father that you...
I'm sorry. But you'll have to admit the newspaper work hasn't a great deal of adventure.
It might have.
Oh, yes, Miss Case, it might have.
There was plenty of excitement while the Green Hornet was so active.
There was, wasn't there?
I wonder if the Hornet has been killed.
Killed? Well, why, Miss Case?
We haven't had a story about a Hornet adventure in quite a while.
That's true.
He may have been killed, or he may have, retired.
I doubt if the Green Hornet would retire, Miss Case.
Well, perhaps then the police and public have been so greatly aroused that the Hornet doesn't risk making another appearance.
That's quite possible.
I never saw you more interested in the newspaper than while the Green Hornet was running wild.
Well, you must admit the Green Hornet furnished news.
He certainly did. Mr. Reed, there's just as much excitement in everyday life if you could only realize it.
For example?
For example, that lad that Lowry tried to tell you about. Waldo Fielding. Now, there's human interest. Poor chap that falls for racketeers, quits his job in the little home community, comes to the big city, goes hungry, is misled and victimized by these fake music publishers.
Isn't there something the law can do about publishers of that sort?
If there were, the law would be doing it. But they stay inside the law, Mr. Reed. According to Lowry, they have a contract, and they fulfill the terms of the contract. So the law is helpless.
I've heard about the racket, Miss Kate.
Aren't you going into your office?
No, I think I'll leave for the day. It's after 4.
But, Mr.
I'll take
Reed...
the song along with me just to satisfy Lowry.
Very
See you sometime tomorrow.
You will stop in then tomorrow.
Oh, yes, I'll probably stop in.
The Green Hornet would only start up again, and perhaps Britt Reed would become interested in the publication of news.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Green Hornet adventure. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. Britt Reed went directly from his office to his apartment. He was uneasy and restless, and only Cato, his faithful valet, realized the real cause of the uneasiness.
You're right, Cato. I do feel handcuffed, hampered, tied down. If there were only some way the Hornet could get at this music publishing racket, I'd go out.
But the risk, Mr. Britt.
Risk be confounded. There's a risk in anything, Cato.
Yes, Mr. Britt.
I can't find any way it can be broken up. Not even if we do use the role of the Green Hornet to get at them.
Is it big?
It's nationwide. Those 3 crooks, Joe, Jack, and Jim, have thousands of people all over the country sending money to them. Money that won't bring a thing except false encouragement and heartbreak.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look at tonight's Sentinel. Look at that warning from the Better Business Bureau. They wanted to buy a few inches. I gave them a quarter of a page. But do you think that'll stop people from being made victims? Not on your life. I even ran one of the songs, a typical song, copyrighted and published by Joe, Jack, and Jim, to show the stuff they called good. Cato, I haven't it just occurred to me.
What is it?
I have an idea, Cato. Life's going to be exciting after all. This may be the entering wedge. Maybe this is what the Green Hornet's been waiting for. The ad for the Business Bureau, Cato. It shows a typical song published by that firm of Joe, Jack, and Jim.
Yes, Mr.
And the music for this is the same tune that was used by that young chap Lowry brought in a story about.
It is.
It definitely is. I don't know a great deal about music, but I do know that much. Did I have an engagement for tonight?
May I call, Mr. Britt?
Cancel it, then. We're going to make other plans.
What are they?
This may give me the lead I need to smash that publishing firm. Joe, Jack, and Jim. Eh? Well, we'll see if they're staying within the law.
Well, what can you do?
Go to the office. I want to look around there for a while. And if my suspicions are correct, we'll hold a meeting of the firm.
The firm?
Joe, Jack, and Jim. Come on. We're taking out the Black Beauty.
Britt Reed went through a secret panel in the rear of his clothes press, and then by means of a passage between the walls of the apartment building, he reached a small door that opened into the loft of an old, supposedly abandoned livery stable. It was here, unknown to everyone, that the sleek black car of the Green Hornet was housed.
Is the car ready, Cato?
Yes, sir.
All right, get in. Mask?
Here, in compartment.
Gas weapon?
Here.
Good enough. I want to telephone Joe, Jack, and Jim, but I can do that from their own office later on this evening.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's get going. There's the night watchman, Cato. Standing at the entrance to the building.
Yes, sir.
You take the car onto the rear. I'll handle him.
What are you going to do?
I'll have to knock him out and get him out of the way. Can't take chances on him. Take the car now. You know where to meet me?
I know.
hat brim pulled low over his eyes, almost hiding the mask, the Green Hornet approached the entrance of the office building where a man stood smoking a pipe.
Offices are all closed now, mister.
I don't want to hurt you.
What have you done, Hornet?
That'll hold you for an hour. If I need more time, I'll give you some more gas.
Dragging the unconscious form of the watchman inside the building, the Green Hornet left him in a corner, then ran the elevator to the 10th floor. Half an hour later, the three Jays had a phone call at their apartment.
I suppose that's just another one of these would-be writers calling for information on his song hit. Answer, Jack.
Hello? I wish we'd given that Fielding kid a little dough.
Oh, stop harping about him, Jim.
But passing out in the street like he did, hunger, that won't do us any good.
Well, it won't hurt us any.
Yeah?
For the love of Pete, forget him. He just won.
Yeah.
He should have come to the city in the first place.
Maybe you're right, Joe. That'll be swell.
Who's he got on the phone?
I don't know.
Looks as if it's something pretty good.
Yes, sir. Right away. Hey, fellas, we're set to really go places.
Who was that?
A publisher. Publisher? Magazine publisher. One of those cheap picture mags. He's in town for the evening and wants to talk to us about running a picture story of our business.
Yeah? Hey, that would be swell publicity.
Wouldn't it, though?
That'll offset what the Sentinel has done.
Won't offset it. It's a national magazine.
When do you see him?
Right away. He asked if I couldn't meet him in our office tonight.
Tonight?
Yeah, and let him see what sort of picture story could be run.
Good, we'll go with you. Yeah, come on, let's start.
This is the break of a lifetime.
Joe, Jack, and Jim rushed in a cab to their office building and found the front door open.
The watchman must be on the first floor.
Yeah, that'll save us waiting for the elevator.
Hey, Larry! Where are you? He isn't on the first floor. The elevator just coming down now.
Shouldn't leave the front door open like that.
Don't worry about it. Well, Larry,
You're covered.
What in place?
Mass, the Green Hornet.
One of you can run this elevator. Get in there or I'll fold you up where the night watchman is.
You killed him, murder.
Get aboard.
Don't shoot. Well, what are you after?
Up to your office. Get going now. Your 10th floor, you know.
Stop waving that gun around.
I'll stop by letting you have it at the first sign of any rough stuff.
I'll take it. Go. Jim.
Let that warn you two.
Oh, shot him in cold blood.
Yeah. How do you like it? Leave him right where he is. You open that door and get to your office.
What are you going to do?
You'll find out. Step along there.
There's a light there.
I left it. You needn't think about the magazine publisher because I was the one who phoned you. I took the liberty of using your own telephone.
I have keys.
You won't need them. I've unlocked the door and everything else that needs unlocking.
Now what?
Sit down in there.
What's all this stuff?
Your so-called song hits.
Yeah, I see.
A couple of them have possibilities, haven't they, Jack?
Why, sure they have.
Suppose the Green Hornet were to steal one of them. Let's just suppose there would be a lot of publicity about the Green Hornet shooting two men, maybe more, to get possession of one specific song. What would happen to the sale of that song?
Hey, that's right.
It would become the hit of the week. Every band would use it, every radio station would be featuring it, and the song would bring thousands and thousands of dollars in royalties.
Maybe we can make a deal.
Before I finish talking to you crooks, you won't want that sort of thing to happen.
What?
Why not? Look here,
You two are going to be broke. You're going to be smashed to a finish.
Broke?
Smashed.
I've already addressed a few envelopes, and I'll see that the rest are addressed. There they are. Take a look at them.
I don't understand.
You will. Take a look at those 3 sheets of music I've laid out for you.
What about it?
Who wrote that music?
We did. What of it?
And who secured copyrights?
We did.
Every one of these songs can be made into a hit tune with the right promotion. I think I can see that it gets that promotion. I've already explained how.
Well, a hit is what...
We can't afford a hit. Suppose, for example, this number becomes a hit. What do you suppose the authors of these other songs with the same music would do? They'd sue, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they'd probably
There
sue.
were probably a dozen other poets who've been given the same melody for their song. They'd all start lawsuits. You two'd be dragged through every court in the country. Your whole racketeering business would be laid out in the open. Can you stand having a sensational song hit?
I don't know.
You know you can't. That's why I came here.
It was a mistake.
That's it. It was a mistake.
Mistake?
The printers made a mistake. They got the words and music.
That's too thin. I could go through your files and show you plenty of the same sort of mistakes. Sit down at that desk.
What do you want?
Money, lots of money. There's your checkbook. I happen to notice your bank balance there. You can write a lot of checks.
Checks?
I said checks.
For who?
Make out the first to Harvey Dale, D-A-L-E. According to your records, he's paid in $150. That's the amount you'll send him.
And who else?
Start writing.
I'll do it.
Oh, no, we'll have Jack do it. He's the one whose signature makes those checks worth something. Go on now. Start writing.
Now, you see here.
Right.
How far are you going?
As far as your bank balance will allow. There's $200 to go to Mrs. Hacknew, $100 to each of the people on this list, $75 to these people. And there's a list of those who'll get $50 each.
I'll be broke. I can't afford all
that. You can't
that.
afford not to pay up. You'll afford it a whole lot better than these people who contributed to your success. And there's another thing, Jack.
Rob and steal.
Shut up! Instead, there was another thing. We may have to overdraw your bank account considerably.
I can't.
You better convert some of the bonds you hold to cover the checks you make out tonight.
I can't.
You might even have to trade in some life insurance. If you don't cover those checks, you'll mighty soon find yourself not only in court, but eventually in jail. What would a jury made of people who read all about your racket in the magazines and newspapers give you? Take your choice, Rat. Go broke and stay free, or go broke and go to jail. And make out checks until you get the writer's cramp. And see that those checks clear the bank.
By first one threat, then another, the Green Hornet compelled the publisher to make out checks to refund money. And then...
That's as far as your cash will go. I'll see to it that these envelopes are mailed.
You can't get away with it.
No? Now, let me explain that I can still make one of your songs a hit. The song that Jim gave his life to keep from the Green Hornet. A song that has some hidden significance to the Green Hornet. One small bit of the song torn and found in the clenched fist of the latest victim of the Hornet's weapon.
Jim.
I'm taking him with me. I know whether or not those checks clear the bank. If they don't, Jim will be found with this emblem plastered to his forehead. The mark of the Green Hornet. And this part of this song clenched in his fist.
Wait. If we don't stop payment, if those checks go
then
through...
you'll have nothing but poverty to worry you. And don't try another racket like this one. The Green Hornet can make one of your songs a hit at any time. Only the next time, it might be one of you who furnishes the clenched fist.
Leaving the two racketeers in their office, the Hornet took the elevator to the first floor, dragged the still unconscious man to the rear door of the building, and put him into the car.
That'll do, Cato.
What do we do with him?
We'll have to keep him under cover until these checks clear the bank. And then, Cato, we can let him go.
Lowry, have you heard the news?
Which news? That Fielding kid got a refund from Joe, Jack, and Jim. That's news.
Yes, and the mark of the Green Hornet was on the letter that went with it.
Yeah, that's a page one story. The Hornet has stepped out again. I wish I had all the details.
But that's not the biggest thing. Mr. Reed was in bright and early this morning. He's a newspaper man again. He's been working like a Trojan all day, trying to run down some leads on the Hornet from what information he gathered.
He is?
Yeah, but it won't last. I'm certain that he'll lose interest again if the Green Hornet goes back into seclusion.
But what if the Green Hornet was to be captured?
I'm afraid Britt Reed would lose interest in the Sentinel in that case, too.
Central Paper! Green Hornet mails check! Exclusive Green Hornet story! Green Hornet Nylons, Central
just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Green Hornet, Incorporated.
86 years ago, May 30th, 1939, Al Hodge as the Green Hornet here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream to support the program. Coming up next here on Classic Radio Theater, we will move away from entertainment and move to memories, specifically Memorial Day. As back 71 years ago today, May 30th, 1954, it was Memorial Day, and we'll hear a WNBC program called Anthology.
What are your dreams for 10 years from now? Perhaps you'd like to travel abroad. In 10 years, comfortable tourist accommodations will certainly be available. This also applies if your travel plans are along the lines of see America first. If you're wondering how you can be sure of having the money at that time, buy savings bonds. Perhaps you haven't been considering travel. Well, if you've been counting on future leisure time or a college education for your children, a farm or business of your own, a retirement income or a home of your own, the solution is still the same. Buy savings bonds. Purchase them the easy, automatic way, where you work through the payroll savings plan, where you bank through the bond-a-month plan. Savings bonds are profitable. For every $3 invested today, you'll receive $4 when your bonds mature. So buy United States savings bonds through the payroll savings plan or bond-a-month plan. And remember, automatic saving is sure saving.
71 years ago today, May 30th, 1954, as I said, was Memorial Day. WNBC did a very special program called Anthology, which was a regular feature. And we're going to hear their Memorial Day program featuring some very special recordings.
Ladies and gentlemen, during the next 30 minutes you will hear Bing Crosby, Frank Lovejoy, Agnes Moorehead, and Walter Houston, as WNBC brings you transcribed a special Memorial Day edition of Anthology. Fleetwood. Every Sunday at 3, WNBC, in conjunction with the Poetry Center of the YW and YMHA, 92nd Street and Lexington Avenue in Manhattan, brings you Anthology, a selection of readings of poets past and present, and the music to accompany their poetry. This afternoon, as a tribute to Memorial Day, we're to hear two of America's best-known and best-loved patriotic poems, and an equally well-known American story in verse form, read by Bing Crosby. On this Memorial Day of 1954, we have poetry spanning our nation's history from the earliest times to the present day, from verses in dedication to our earliest settlers, to a story in verse which can very well serve as a symbol of that precious freedom for which so many American men and women have fought and died down through the long centuries. We begin with a poem of the birth of our country. Here is the distinguished American actress, Miss Agnes Moorehead, in a dramatic reading of The Landing of the Pilgrim Fathers.
The breaking waves dashed high on a stern and rock-bound coast, and the woods against a stormy sky their giant branches tossed. And the heavy night hung dark the hills and waters o'er, when a band of exiles moored their bark on a wild New England shore. Not as the conqueror comes, they the true-hearted came. Not with the roll of stirring drums and the trumpets that sing of fame. Not as the flying come, in silence and in fear. They shook the depths of the desert's gloom with their hymns of lofty cheer. Amidst the storm they sang, and the stars heard, and the sea, and the sounding aisles of the dim woods rang to the anthem of the free. The ocean eagle soared from his nest by the white waves foamed, and the rocking pines of the forest roared. This was their welcome home. There were men with hoary hair amidst that pilgrim band. Why had they come to wither there, away from their childhood's land? There was woman's fearless eye, lit by her deep love's truth. There was manhood's brow serenely high, and the fiery heart of youth. What sought they thus afar? Bright jewels of the mine, the wealth of sea, the spoils of war. They sought a faith's pure shrine. I call it holy ground, the soil where first they trod. They left unstained what there they found, freedom to worship God.
In the 1700s, we fought and won our liberty. And then, within another century, America was to go to war not once but twice again, and to our great shame, won a war between the states in which citizen fought citizen. In the North, in the South, divided loyalties, divided homes, names like Harper's Ferry, Shiloh, Bull Run, and in the White House, a tall, gaunt, unhappy man named Abraham Lincoln. The late Walter Houston brings us a poem of the Civil War, a poem of intense sadness written by Walt Whitman upon the assassination of President Lincoln. The special musical accompaniment was written by Victor Young. Walter Houston reads, "O Captain, my Captain."
Oh, Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every wreck, the prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh, heart, 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 oh, the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen, cold, and dead. Oh, Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills, for you bouquets and ribboned wreaths, for you the shores are crowding, for you they call, the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, the arm beneath your head. Is it some dream that on the deck you've fallen cold and dead? My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object won. Exalt all shores, and ring all bells. But I, with mournful tread, walk the deck my captain lies, fallen cold in bed.
Major portion of this special Memorial Day program, we're to listen to The Man Without a Country, a poetic narrative by Jean Holloway, based on Edward Everett Hale's immortal story, and narrated by Bing Crosby, with Frank Lovejoy as Philip Nolan. Many of us have heard this story before. It's been read to us by grammar school teachers, or declaimed perhaps by stammering fellow students, in classrooms distracted by spring whispering at an open window, or by an autumn kaleidoscope of whirling leaves. We heard it as a text or a lesson. We learned it long before we could conceive of what it would be like to be banished forever from the land of our birth. Told in dramatic form, the story of Philip Nolan takes on a new stature, a greater depth, a stronger meaning. We feel that upon an American holiday such as this, it is highly appropriate to retell this fine American story, and especially in Jean Holloway's exciting radio verse. And now, The Man Without a Country.
Order in the court! Order in the court! The attorney for the state will kindly continue.
Mr. Nolan, is it not true that you are part of a conspiracy to destroy the government of the United States?
No, that is not true. That is not true, I tell you.
Do you dare to deny your friendship with Aaron Burr?
No, I don't deny that. But I do deny all your accusations of treason.
Lieutenant Nolan, Aaron Burr has shown himself to be an enemy of the United States government. As an American officer, your country's enemies are your enemies. By your association with Aaron Burr, you betrayed the uniform you wear, the flag you follow, the country you profess to serve. That is true, is it not, Mr. Nolan?
No, it is not true. It is not true.
You still dare to defend your association with Aaron Burr?
I don't think it needs defending. I only talk to the man.
You don't think it needs defending? You need say no more, Lieutenant Nolan. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Philip Nolan, rise and face the court. Philip Nolan, is there anything you wish to say to show that you have always been faithful to the United States?
The United States? Damn the United States! I wish I may never hear of the United States again!
Who was that man? Who would dare utter such treason? Let me tell you a story, America, about you and your growing. Not a story of a national hero, but of Philip Nolan, who severed a bond before he knew its value. Listen to the story of the man without a country. Think back. Way back to the 1800s. Remember? You were still an adolescent then. You were proud of being a nation of 17 states. And you were beginning to speak grandly of adding Michigan, Indiana, and Mississippi, and becoming 20. Zealous old Tom Jefferson was in the White House, and down in the South was a man named Aaron Burr, an a man named Philip Nolan. They say now that history has sifted the facts and weighed the evidence, they say Philip Nolan was as fine an officer as any in the Western Division. Oh, he was a little more hot-headed than some, a little swifter to anger than others, a little too quick sometimes about getting his 2 cents of opinion in, but he was not alone in this. There were many dashing young gallants like him, as ready to die for a kiss as a flag. And Philip Nolan might have gone to his final sleep among the vine-covered homes of the dead in Orleans as quietly as any of them, had a star not crossed his path one night.
Mr. Nolan, I'm Aaron Burr. I'm told you're a young man of remarkable promise. I should like to talk to you about your future.
Why, thank you, sir. I hardly know what to say. Thank you very much.
A star comes that way sometimes. Sudden, blinding, dazzling. Aaron Burr came as a disguised conqueror. Rumor had it that there was an army behind him and an empire before. But that first day in Orleans, though Philip Nolan wasn't to know it for a long time yet, he became the man without a country. It was only a step from Aaron Burr's side to a trial for treason.
The United States versus Philip Nolan.
He was bewildered, deeply hurt, embittered. Above all else, he was young. An older man would have checked his anger. A traitor would have been wise enough to hide his feelings, but Philip Nolan was neither a wise man nor a traitor. A moment's silence, and then those words that were to echo forever through his life.
I wish I may never hear of the United States again!
I wish I may never hear of the United States again.
I wish I may never hear of
The words filled the courtroom, shivered against the walls. No one spoke, no word fell to combat those other words. Half the officers in the room had served through the Revolution. They had fought their way, starved and frozen through endless bitter months, so that one day a people could say, "This is my country." Judge and jury rose and left the court wordlessly. No one else stirred. Someone in the back of the room sighed, and someone else coughed. That was all. 15 minutes went by like 15 years before the judge returned.
Prisoner, hear the sentence of the court. The court decides, subject to the approval of the President, that you shall have your wish. You will never hear the name of the United States again.
It was the fall of 1807. It would be 1863 before he heard her name again. The leaves would grow red in Maryland soon. They'd be piled along the Potomac for burning. Their smoke would spiral into lace against the November skies. They'd be tapping the trees for maple sugar in the Vermont woods, and the New England housewives would gather in their spiced kitchens to prepare the Thanksgiving puddings. The Cape Cod fishermen would go out in the misty dawn for their nets, and the harvest would be a bright promise on the Indiana hillsides. The Blue Ridge and the Allegheny and the Rockies would pull the snow up over their shoulders and settle down for the winter. And the Mississippi would go slipping on through the heart of America. There would be hearth fires and Christmas trees, and there'd be dances. There would be church service and wedding ceremonial and baptismal. It was not for Philip Nolan. His was the sea and the bitterness of salt on his lips and no port at evenings. And in one sudden, heart-stabbing moment, Philip Nolan knew what he had lost.
Sir, you will receive from Lieutenant Neal the person of Philip Nolan, late a lieutenant in the United States Army. You will take the prisoner on board your ship and keep him there with such precautions as shall prevent his escape. You will provide him with such quarters, rations, and clothing as would be proper for an officer of his late rank. But under no circumstances is he to ever to hear of his country or see any information regarding it.
So Philip Nolan walked the decks of the seven seas, and he thought about America. But he never asked about her. He talked to his shipmates about the weather, about the sea, about all things but home. In foreign ports where he was rarely permitted to go ashore, he filled his days with reading. But in the books and in the papers given him, there was no mention of America. For him, she was only a dream that had ceased existing. He was a ghost among his companions, drifting from port to port, listening to a word that filled his heart, that reached him in the wind, that sighed from the rigging, that the waves whispered through the midnight. One word, America.
The grass is blue in Kentucky this spring. Wouldn't you like to ride through it with the earth hard and firm under your horse's feet? Think of it, earth under you.
The flower girls are in the streets of Orleans now. It's almost time for the Mardi Gras. Remember the girl you kissed at the Mardi Gras?
The fields are white with cotton now. The slaves are singing. What would you give to hear their voices?
The snow is thick and white in New England. They are riding through it to the Christmas parties. Can't you hear the sleigh bells? How long is it since you heard sleigh?
Leave me alone. I can't stand thinking anymore. Oh, God, let me stop remembering.
I wish I may never hear of the United States again. I wish I may never hear of the United States again.
The court decides, subject to the approval of the president, that you shall have your wish.
No! No! Oh.
The men were kind enough. On Sunday afternoons when they sat on deck, smoking and chatting, they invited Nolan to join them. He had a pleasant voice. Sometimes they asked him to read to them. One day the reading sessions came to an abrupt end.
Here, Nolan, let's have something out of this.
The Lay of the Last Minstrel. Walter Scott, eh?
Yeah, it's a new book the captain sent down. He says there's some nice stuff in it.
Well, let's have a look at it. Breathes there the man with soul so dead, who never to himself hath said, this is my own, my native land. Whose heart hath ne'er within him burned, as home his footsteps he hath turned from wandering on a foreign strand. If such there breathe, someone else finish it. I'm something to attend to below.
Philip Nolan could never find peace. Ships docked, set sail, men went home on leave. He watched in wordless agony. He thought of candlelight on warm, gracious tables, of gardens where a man could crumble the rich soil in his fingers, of linens whipping on the clotheslines and the friendly smells of kitchens. He thought of moonlight on hair that was soft as silk to the touch, of eyes liquid in the starlight, of lips velvet smooth and ripe for kissing. He thought of arms opened wide to gather in the returning sailor, and one special voice that would say, welcome home. He thought of perfume and music and the rustle of silk. He was young, and there was a fierce hunger in him. Then one night in the Mediterranean, some ladies were invited aboard for a ship's ball. All that was young in Philip Nolan died that night, as he stood on deck, looking at the girl he had loved a lifetime ago.
Anne Emery.
Why, Philip Nolan. This is a surprise. You're looking splendid, Philip. The sea evidently agrees with you.
I'd forgotten how lovely you are.
You must have forgotten many things.
It's almost impossible to believe, finding you way out here.
I'm on my way home. I've been visiting in France.
I tried to see you before I left. They wouldn't let me see anyone.
I understand. I was very busy at the time anyhow. I was married soon after you left.
Married?
Yes, of course. Hadn't you heard? I have a little boy now.
A little boy? You must be very happy.
I am, Philip.
It's so strange that we should meet again way out here.
I'm a little sorry we did meet. I'd forgotten you. It was better that way.
I loved you very much. I loved you and I lost you. And everything else I loved in one mad moment. Oh, my dear.
I think we should get back to the dances.
Yeah, of course. Anne, would you tell me just one thing? What do you hear from home?
Home, Mr. Nolan? I thought you were the man who never wanted to hear of home again.
I beg your pardon. Good night, Anne.
Philip Nolan knew in that moment how alone he was. One man with only the sea for the rest of his life, and one nameless port at the end of it. The days became weeks, and the weeks years that marched across his forehead and left him old. His eyes were deep pools of loneliness, his heart completely empty. No one knew until the day he was dying how deep his hurt had gone. No one knew until that day when they entered his room for the first time and found it a shrine to America. Stars and stripes were draped around a picture of Washington, and he had painted a majestic eagle with its foot clasping the whole globe. At the foot of his bed was a great map of the United States, drawn from memory.
Here, Captain. You see, I have a country.
Yes, I see, Nolan. How do you feel? Is there anything I can do for you?
Captain, I'm dying. I'll never see my country again. But there's not a man on this ship or in all the United States that loves you as I do. Would you tell me about America?
Tell you about America? How can I begin to tell you about America? He had left America in 1807. It was 1863. War had come and gone in 1812, and Francis Scott Key had sat on a British battleship and written the national anthem. Jackson had taken the Florida Territory. A new flag had been raised in Washington with 13 alternate stripes and 20 stars. 9 presidents had been in the White House. The Monroe Doctrine had been born, the cornerstone of American foreign policy.
The continents of the Western Hemisphere are henceforth not to be considered as subjects for future colonization by any of the European powers.
The United States had begun to gather themselves into a nation.
It is not the states, but the people of the nation who have made the Union. It is, sir, the people's constitution, the people's government, made for the people, answerable to the people.
Tell him about America. Tell him about Peter Cooper's steam locomotive, the Tom Thumb, drawing its first train of cars over 23 miles of the B&O Railroad. Tell him about America. Andrew Jackson had moved the Indians west of the Mississippi. Arkansas, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa had joined the nation. The Battle of the Alamo had been fought in Texas and gold discovered in California. A new nation had spanned 2 oceans, and in the White House was the president whose words were the voice of the new nation.
Of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Tell him about America, the power, the color, the strength, the beauty, the tears, the triumphs. Tell him so that he knows the glory he thrust aside.
She's a great nation, Captain. A great nation.
Yes, Nolan, a great nation. Nolan. Nolan.
And so his last thought was of his country. Before they lowered him into the sea, they draped the flag of the United States over his coffin. How proud that would have made him. The captain intoned the last rites. The bugler played taps. And the ceremony was over.
Men, we found this paper in Nolan's things. Bury me in the sea. It has been my home, and I love it. But will someone not set up a stone for my memory at Fort Adams or at Orleans, so that my disgrace will not follow me through eternity? Say on it, in memory of Philip Nolan, lieutenant in the Army of the United States. He loved his country as no other man has ever loved her, but no man deserved less at her hands. We will do as he wished.
And so, although the sea claimed him, his soul would know the feeling of land again. The flowers would be near him, and the trees and the earth of America. He would know the seasons and the pulsing life of the nation. There would be a flag over him and the knowledge of belonging. And thus, the man without a country came home to America.
The Man Without a Country, a poetic narrative by Jean Holloway, based on Edward Everett Hale's immortal story, and narrated by Bing Crosby with Frank Lovejoy as Philip Nolan. On Anthology, Memorial Day, 1954. And so, Anthology number 13, transcribed and dated Sunday, May 30th. Next week, our guest will be Marion Rooney of Cademan Records, who will tell us the story behind their famous recordings of contemporary American poets and readers such as Hurd Hatfield, Joe Van Fleet, and Frank Silvera. With her, Miss Rooney will bring the newest Cademan recording of Judith Anderson, reading the poetry of Edna St. Vincent Millay. Anthology comes to you with the cooperation of the YW and YMHA Poetry Center, 92nd Street and Lexington Avenue, John Milcom Brennan, Director. The program is produced by Steve White, written and directed by Draper Lewis. And now this is Fleetwood wishing you good luck and good reading. Don't forget to join us next Sunday at 3 for another edition of Anthology on your community stations in New York.
Wonderful stories that you heard on Anthology on this date, 71 years ago, May 30th, 1954, on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream to support the program. Now we're going to go Against the Storm next.
The National Safety Council reports that highway accidents are being reduced and lives being saved. But accidents are still a national problem. The major causes of traffic casualties are speed, drink, and carelessness. Driving too fast for road conditions is one of the most common causes of traffic accidents. Next to speed, driving on the wrong side of the road was reported as the most frequent driver violation of common sense and the safety laws. And 1/4 of the fatal accidents involve a driver or pedestrian who's been drinking. Take the responsibility on yourself and urge safety precautions in your community. Every motorist and every pedestrian should obey traffic signs and signals. Never drive after drinking. Never drive on the wrong side of the road. Watch for warnings on grade crossings. Be alert and careful every moment you're behind the wheel. Remember, the life you save may be your own.
And we wrap up this Friday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with a soap opera from 84 years ago, May 30th, 1941. And World War II had not come to the U.S. yet. In this episode of Against the Storm, Memorial Day Memories.
Against the Storm.
Like your brother Joe. How old would he be now if he hadn't been killed in the Civil War? Well, let me see. Today is May 30th, 1894.
Jason McKinley Allen remembers a day from his own and Porky Mason's country childhood. Today in Against the Storm. We bring you another chapter of Against the Storm, written by Sandra Michael and presented by the makers of Ivory. Now, today is the last time this week I can remind you about the marvelous special offer new Double Quick Ivory Flakes is making. So please jot down on your calendar that today's the day to send in your order. Now listen, we're offering you a wonderful opportunity to get a pair of beautiful Boulevard brand pure silk crepe stockings at a truly tremendous saving. Yes, and we've selected these fine three-thread crepe stockings with an eye to all the new fashion points, an eye to long-wearing qualities and beauty, too. They're full-fashioned, all silk from top to toe, and made by a famous hosiery maker. They're knit inside out, so you get that wonderful smooth dull finish on the outside. And that dull finish makes these stockings very flattering to wear. And the color, it's called Tiara, a lovely suntan shade that goes with every color in the rainbow. And now about long wear. Well, listen, these stockings have a heel and foot that are designed in a different way. No side seams where a mean little runs so often start. And say, if you'll remember to take care of these stockings with new double quick ivory flakes every night, well, it'll help you get wonderfully long wear. Lady, are you going to be thrilled when you see these stockings? Why, women just rave about them. We showed them to hundreds of women, and most of them said they thought these stockings were worth at least half again as much as we're asking. In fact, dozens of them said they thought they should cost $1 or more. Oh, but look, here's how easily and thriftily you can get 1, 2, or 3 pairs of these Boulevard brand stockings for yourself. For each pair you want, simply send 50 cents and 1 Ivory Flakes box top, either size. Address Ivory Flakes, Cincinnati, Ohio. Stockings come in sizes 8.5 to 11, and be sure to include your stocking size. Remember, simply send 50 cents with your name and address and 1 Ivory Flakes box top to Ivory Flakes, Cincinnati, Ohio. Allow about 2 weeks for delivery. And hurry, friends, because this offer is limited. Good in the United States only. Professor Allen is standing on the porch this morning, thinking, or at least feeling, that this is Sunday. But today, instead of churchgoers, he sees a group of children, 6 or 7 of them, walk briskly past around the corner and off beneath the sunny trees. Some of them carried flowers. All of them carried small, rather inflexible flags. The sight awoke some vague suggestion of a very old memory in the professor's mind. He was trying to get hold of whatever it was when he heard the screen door open.
Margaret? Ah, good, it is you.
Oh, well, now. Who did you think it might have been? Nobody else at home this morning.
Really? The girls and Penny all go to church?
No, they've gone to the song festival at the Soldiers' Home.
Song festival? Oh, my word, I was thinking this was Sunday.
Seems like it. But it's Memorial Day.
Memorial Day? Of course, that's what those children reminded me of.
What children?
Oh, a group of youngsters went by here a minute ago. Flowers and flags.
I suppose they were going out to the cemetery.
No doubt. I knew they reminded me of something of my own childhood. One very particular day when Porky Mason and I brought flowers and flags out to the Civil War graves in the country cemetery at home. Goodness, Margaret, I can see that old place so clearly. A gentle slope of ground to the south of the church, with big old trees here and there, and the gravestones leaning a little this way and that, as if to make themselves more comfortable. It was really a very pleasant place, friendly and peaceful. Porky and I enjoyed sitting there talking that day. It was one of those warm, cool days, you know.
Very much like today, I imagine. And there were irises in the bouquets and bleeding hearts, and perhaps a few early peonies.
There were. And we had quite a time there at the church, running back and forth to the pump and down to the veterans' graves, filling vases and matching them up to be sure the bouquets were all fair and equal. When we were all finished, we sat down to rest in the shade.
Kind of warm, ain't it? You're kind of fat. I guess that's why you get warm when you work, Porky. Yeah, I guess. I don't care, though. Think we got 'em all about fair and even, Porky? I guess. I put an extra peony on that one over there, though, Jason. Seems kind of lonesome out there in the corner by himself. Looks that way. But I don't think you're lonesome when you're dead. Oh, gee, I would be. Nobody to go fishing with and nobody to talk to. Well, if you're in heaven... Yeah. Uh-huh. What? Well, I'd rather be alive, though. Me too. George Jeremiah Hewitt, born August 1st, 1845. Died September 27th, 1863. September 21st, 1863. Is that what it says? Oh, yeah, 21st. Aged 18 years, 1 month, 20 days. What's it say underneath the dove? Flowers are in the way from here. Says, died that others might live. He was a soldier. Well, sure, ain't that why we decorated his grave? Gosh, he was just about as old as your brother Joe, Porky. 18. That's not very old. How old would he be now if he hadn't been killed in the Civil War? Well, 1863 to 1894. How long is that, Jason? Oh, 63 to 93 is 30, and 1 is 31. Gosh, dead for 31 years. It's a long time. Kind of funny, isn't it? He got killed and some didn't get killed. Like your one grandfather and my uncle's. Grandpa's 2 brothers got killed. I know it. I'm glad Grandpa wasn't killed. I'm glad there aren't going to be any wars anymore. Pa says there always will be. Of course there won't. Don't do any good to kill people, Porky. And it's a sin, too. Can you imagine shooting anybody? Of course not. Why should I shoot anybody? You have to in a war. Grandpa shot a man at the Battle of Atlanta. He wakes up sometimes at night, crying. Your Grandpa Mason? That swears? Sure. He cries because he has a dream about the man he shot. The man wasn't dead right away, and Grandpa gave him a drink of water from a stream, and the man smiled and said thanks. When Grandpa remembers that, he cries. You know what my father says? What? He says, instead of people going out in armies and killing each other to see who wins, they ought to get up teams and play baseball to see who wins. Your father's a good joker. I like him. But he wasn't joking. He means it. He says, it doesn't prove you're better than somebody else if you can beat them playing baseball. But it doesn't prove anything if you can beat them killing people either. And playing baseball, at least nobody gets killed. Well, if you get to be a senator or the president of the United States, you can put up a law like that, Jason. I'm not going to be president. Maybe you are, though. Not me. I'm going to run a livery stable and get myself a team of the fastest grays you ever saw in your life. Oh, golly, how sleepy aren't you, Jason?
I think we both fell asleep, sitting there beside the grave of George Jeremiah Hewitt.
Aged 18 years. Died that others might live. Oh, Jason. And your beloved friend, Porky?
Poor old Porky. He got his livery stable all right and turned it into a garage eventually. And in 1917, he died in France. That democracy might live.
Did he have any children?
Porky? Yes, boy. I suppose he must be 26, 27 years old.
What would you say now if Porky could tell you over again, there'll always be war?
I'd say what I said then, with more conviction, Margaret. It's just as absurd to say that wars have to be as it would have been to say we'll always burn witches at the stake. Heaven knows we still do our share of a different kind of witch burning, but we do less of that than we used to, too. It may be that man's fellow feeling has been slower to develop than his mechanical and scientific skill, but we're learning.
I hope we are, Jason.
Be sure of it. A new world a younger world should come.
A younger world. That's what we need, isn't it? The honest vision of childhood. The same kind of unspoiled vision you and Porky had, looking at the follies of the world from a country graveyard. Sitting among the young dead, who never should have died as they did. Oh, Jason. And then, perhaps someday that inscription really will come true, in a sad, paradoxical, roundabout way. They died that others might live.
Friends, send in this very day for new Double Quick Ivory Flake special bargain offer. We offer you one pair or several pairs of beautiful Boulevard brand crepe silk stockings at a marvelous saving. These stockings are pure silk from top to toe. They're knit inside out to give you that smooth, dull finish that's so flattering. So send for yours and then take care of them with new Double Quick Ivory Flakes. And see how this nightly washing care helps you get wonderful stocking wear. Now remember, these stockings are available in sizes from 8.5 to 11, and they're made by a famous hosiery maker. You'll be crazy about them once you see them. So get your order in the mail today. Now, here's all you do. For each pair of stockings you want, send 50 cents and one Ivory Flakes box top, either size. Address Ivory Flakes, Cincinnati, Ohio. 50 cents with your name and address and one Ivory Flakes box top to Ivory Flakes, Cincinnati, Ohio. Be sure to include your stocking size. This offer is good in the United States only. Monday, Peter Alden, the young subject of all of Christie's and Philip's discussions, appears to his real father, but in an unusual dream. Monday, in Against the Storm. This is Richard Stark, wishing you a pleasant weekend for Procter & Gamble, the makers of Ivory. 99 and 44 100% pure.
Back in a time when many Americans still remembered Memorial Day was not just the start of summer. It was remembering those who gave their lives for our country. 84 years ago, May 30th, 1941, as our boys were about to march off to another foreign war. Against the Storm, the soap opera from that date. Coming up tomorrow on the program, we will have more drama, an episode of Suspense, Ronald Colman starring in August Heat from 80 years ago, Let George Do It starring Bob Bailey and The Island in the Lake, The Cavalcade of America, the story of Mary Todd Lincoln from 82 years ago during World War II, Dragnet starring Jack Webb from 74 years ago in The Big Bindle, and a segment of the Orson Welles Almanac program, a parody of Suspense's Donovan's Brain, which Welles had starred in. Have yourself a great Friday and a great weekend ahead. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Wyatt Cox, ClassicRadio.Stream.